Don't get my fucking.
And welcome back to another Friday night here with the Average Boys podcast. I am here, of course, with my co-host Trigger.
What's up, dude?
And we are also here with our boy Josh.
What's up?
And Michael from the Return of the Ninja Lan. And we're also here with a good friend of ours, LP.
Yes, sir.
LP, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get close. The microphone, it's almost like you gotta kiss it, or you gotta lick it, or I don't know what you guys do nowadays.
Hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I know you and Michael are used to getting close now. You know.
So we'll start the show off as we usually do. Josh, introduce yourself. Let people know what's up about you real quick.
What's up, everybody? My name is Joshua Lopez from Widowmaker Studios. I run a full-time studio, recording most of the rock and metal down here in the RGV. On the side, I love to play video games. So I also play in a video game tribute band called Sonic Boom, which we'll be playing at Ninja Lan, we're going to talk about here in a bit. And I also play bass for the National Shred Act Immortal Guardian. So we'll be going on the road here for a month, and we'll do those details a little later.
That sounded like real prestigious, man. I thought that was real official there.
There's so much. You gotta be ready with the spiel every day. You know what I mean? I'm ready.
Plus, I kind of feel like this is like a bit of like a redemption stream for us. You know, since like our last one with Josh was such
garbage, and I apologize because
we totally fucked that one up.
It was the first time I ever tried to use what? We tried to use OBS, right?
Yeah, we tried running everything through OBS and completely fucked it up. Didn't verify audio, and we completely.
You wait till I screw this one up. So.
No, and like that's why we're glad we're at least in Josh's studio.
Well, it's because
we won't fuck this up.
Our major thing is like, of course, during the coronavirus, you know, everybody was cramming to try to get some kind of like a internet, some kind of internet presence available. So we had been part of a RGV Titan Radio for a really long while. Shout out to Fredward and all the dudes at RGV Titan Radio. Yeah, dude, he's super cool. I love that dude. He's a homie, bro. He's an average boy. But what we did was everybody had to isolate themselves back in their homes, and we couldn't go to the studio anymore. Everybody was trying to be safe. So me and Trigger needed to find out different ways to make it work. And of course, like we were both getting equipment on our sides, but finding something to stream on that is like available to different streaming organizations, like it's so hard because really to do OBS and then to stream to like a Twitch and a Facebook, you know, you really have to like you have to get into the nitty gritty of finding your stream key and doing this and doing that. But I knew that there was something out there that just made it fast, which there was Streamlabs, right? Streamlabs did it at first.
And even then, Streamlabs was in the early
stages of
everything. When we had that big boom. Technology just like fast forwarded super quick.
We talked about that before,
because of what happened, you know.
And that's really what it was. So we when we brought Josh on the show, we were used to using Zoom, and I was like, you know what? Like I've been streaming my personal video game stuff on OBS. I can make this look real cool. Intro video, fucking sounds and overlays. I was super excited. You can ask Triggs. I was like, dude, I'm gonna do it. And yeah, I didn't do it. Like straight up, I failed. It took a while. It was a really great failure.
We learned from our mistakes.
No, what was even worse was like we had people like on the chat. They were like, "You guys sound really quiet.
Yeah, you guys sound real far away." And we were just like, "Well, we'll talk louder."
Yeah. So I mean, we're basically screaming into our mics and upscaling everything. And people were like, "Now you're muffled, but you still sound really
far away." Yeah, it was
so bad.
It was quite the test, and right now, even during these past 2 weeks, we've had a couple of hiccups. We had a hiccup last week. We had all our 4 audios connected, which is what you see here in front of us right now. Yeah, but we tried to attempt a 5th USB microphone, and it was as you could tell, not very successful. You can hear me in the background. It would have just been better if I just stayed off the camera and been that guy, the guy in the production team that's like, hey, what about this?
You gotta the guy in the chair.
The guy in the chair, yeah. It would have just been better if I just stayed that for a bit. The guy sounded great. The podcast came out really good. We got to talk to our friend Ham, who isn't here today because he's out there doing arcade mischievous. He's doing arcade mischievous
in Louisville.
Yeah, he's saying Louisville.
More stuff.
So he's grabbing some arcades, getting ready for the event. And shout out to Ham, our dude. Hope you're doing good and your travels are good. Be safe out there, dude. Okay, so we also got Mike. Mike, give us a little bit of info about yourself.
Hi, everybody. Michael, Twitch, returning to the Average Boys podcast, etc. Always a pleasure to be here. As you guys know, I'm the founder of Ninja Lan, and I'm the owner of Kinetic Entertainment Media. So we're just kind of continuing our cycle of the promotion for the event. If you've noticed, our locations changed a couple of times, and it's kind of like each of the stages, right? Like like the boss stages.
The boss stages. What we've been doing is we've been going to the location of each and every one of the bosses that is running the event, because we want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable with them and knows them by name. So that way, when you get to the event, I mean, Michael, you touch him. It just allows you to
stay 6 feet away from me, baby. I'm vaccinated.
We're hugging. We're hugging everybody. It just allows you guys to know who they are. So that way, when the event comes and you have questions, you're not scrounging around to find different people. You at least visually know who they are, and you know what type of people they are.
Yeah. You can find me in the chair gaming, and then I'll ignore you.
So I just want to
see me gaming.
I just want to say something real quick to our audience out there, our people that are leaving comments. When I turn around is when I'll be able to see comments and answer people. So shout out to everybody in the comment section. I think I saw Rob. I saw Christella. I saw who else was out in the comment section.
That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. It's them.
Yeah, that's it.
Rob, Christella.
So thank you guys for tuning in, and the people that are leaving vibes. Yeah, guys, ask us questions.
In here, so.
We have this event that's coming up that's going to be all based on arcades and video games and stuff. And those that are interested in going, even those that are out of town and probably that can't make it, right? Like, you guys will probably have questions on how.
It's gonna be a fantastic stream.
Yeah.
There's gonna be such great streams.
We're gonna have
even
a
if you're out
freaking
of town, it's still gonna be such great entertainment overall. Like the overall venue, individual like qualifiers and tournaments and semifinals and finals for Melee. We're gonna have some of the like individual LAN games are gonna get casted, etc. So
we saw that you put up that you guys have your first guest, a guest person that's coming in.
We have Broly Legs coming in to play Melee. He's one of the top players down here for not only Melee, but like Street Fighter.
Yeah, dude, what an inspiring dude.
He's a handicap player that has very little function in his arms.
Yeah.
And his legs, so he actually plays with part of one of his hands in his face.
Mouth, right?
So he's there on the controller.
I've seen his videos. Super amazing guy, dude.
He
fucking takes guys, dude.
Yeah. So
probably best performance like 2008 Evo, etc. 2008.
So it's gonna be super cool. I love to meet that guy.
Sorry,
I love to meet that guy. So I'm super excited just to meet him already. So I know that the event's gonna be freaking fantastic. Me and Mike were talking about hopefully establishing a cosplay event. Remember?
Yeah, it's early, it's in its infancy, etc. We definitely had some conversations about like the kind of drama that can happen.
Yeah, because it can blow up real fast.
Ethos, etc. Especially because we're saying, well, how big of a pot do we want to put in front of this, right? And then wondering if like an event that's already a gated event, which you have to pay at the minimum $15 to get in the door. What kind of
what's enticing
temperature is there to add to a pot? So almost all of our video game tournaments have a beginning pot bonus, with the exception of PC games. And so any of the ones that we have small pots and we have big pots and small pots. So based on the all of that transfers into the winner's pool or the winner's pots, right? So our Melee pot is gonna at the right amount of entrance at 40 to 50, high 50 entrance, the pot's gonna be over $1,000. So sick, in order, we're with the cosplay concept, we were like, well, wouldn't it be really great to have a $500 prize pool,
that would be really amazing
prize pool for a cosplay contest, especially in the RGB? Yeah. That'd probably be one of the biggest prize pools.
You know what? It's probably I can pretty much venture that it's never been that high before for a cosplay, unless it's like a bar during Halloween that does like their $1,000 giveaways, but that's to entice people to come in during Halloween and show off their cosplay.
I've seen bar cosplay contests. I guarantee you they're not that high.
Yeah,
they're like 150 max.
No, so I have a friend of mine. He is a referee for the UFC, but he lives out of Harlingen, I think, Jake. And he's been refereeing for a long time for a bunch of like MMA events, but he likes to dress up and make costumes, but he's not a cosplayer. He literally, as a hobbyist, just makes costumes. But what he does is during Halloween, he literally would go to every bar, and on nights, like he's made up to like $10,000 to $18,000 a night on just winning cosplay like competitions. He's even won a $25,000 car, like doing a Halloween, because he dressed up as the Thing from Fantastic Four, and he made the entire like foam suit. It was badass.
So he was the guy at Stilettos.
Well, he's done that, and he even did the Ninja Turtles. He made all the costumes from the original movie, so he had them all at home, and he hired 4 of his guys, I don't know if they were from his gym or just randos, to dress up as the Ninja Turtles and go for him. and help him win because he just dressed up as one and had 3 other guys with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to
Like
have the team
smart
on
fucking
there,
move, man.
yeah.
But to be banking that much in one night, dude, that's like its own job on its own, man. You know what I mean? You can make your whole like maybe 2 months of living just making one solid ass costume for like 3 months and then fucking bank on Halloween night.
Well, I know like bragging rights, right? You know, walking away with bragging rights always means something.
Oh
to
yeah,
an
of course.
extent. But I mean, a cash prize is a cash prize.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, to an
Sometimes
extent.
I mean,
It's
shit
always
like that'll
enticing.
fund an entire cosplay.
Sometimes it might attract people. You know, San Antonio, maybe, right? You might get like a good cosplayer to come in, and it's always fun. Like the melee crew, like with Broly Legs being announced, Albert, a lot.
We're
Like
starting to get a lot more outreach beyond the RGV. So,
and
Nice.
and
it's at
bringing
what
in
point
those.
can we bring in the cosplay and try to bring in some of the added?
Well, there's also an enticement because there's like a ranking that's actually happening because it's also regional. You guys were saying last week, right?
Yeah, there
Yeah,
is,
the melee thing is regional, so it's really easy to attract out of state talent. But for the Valley of like, well, if we talked about it and we decided on the last podcast, like, yes, it's a retro party. We're keeping it in that 70s, 80s, and 90s theme, and none of the Ninja Lands before really had a costume concept or whatever, right? So it's kind of an evolution, especially because it's 20 years later and we're going with the retro theme.
Yeah, and the cosplay growth has tremendously grown in the last like 5 years, man.
Yeah,
last 5 years
it's become a lot more.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
definitely
I went to a metal show the other day, and one of the guys says, "Hey, you guys going to allow cosplaying at the event? Because
so wild.
my
dude, to
kid
hear.
asked me if she can cosplay at this
That's
event. She wants me
wild,
to take
man.
her to go cosplay at this event." And I'm like,
She cosplay as Guar. That would be
Right?
so cool. That's the only guy I could think of for Slipknot or
Because
something.
think of all these metalheads, super open-minded metalheads.
Of course.
They have kids that grow up into the culture, and there's a lot of anime culture happening.
Yeah,
right
of
now.
course.
So I see a lot of my metalhead friends with kids who are like super into anime and cosplaying and stuff like
That's a good
that.
point.
Not even so much the video game world, if
Yeah.
anything,
Well, we had a question. A good friend of ours, Robert Flotis, shout out Rob. He wanted to ask us really quick about. We talked about this earlier because we didn't know we were going to talk about it. He asked us about the Loki show and what we thought about it, and I was like, you know what, like we weren't really going to mention it too much, but you know what? As a matter of fact, like I mean, maybe we can knock it out of the park real quick. I think the show's going great. I think episode 3 went pretty good. I know you're not pretty well. You're not watching the show. That's why we don't really want to cover it too much. Yeah, yeah.
It was hard to convince my son to watch the 3rd episode.
It was draggy
because he was really not loving 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But by the end of 3, he was like, "All right, I'm
a little bit more into
And
it.
I think a lot of people went through that with WandaVision too.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Enchantress. I mean, if we're continuing.
Okay, that was a good call. That was a good call.
I don't, as I said, it is the Sybil, or what did they say? Her
Sybil.
Sylvie, right? So she's changed her name. Really interesting in the trailer. You see her as a child in the TWA.
Yes.
So they haven't given her motive. Like, why is she trying to, and I said it before. I think I'm on record for talking about like this whole single stream being like a real analogous for fascism, right? Like this only my reality, like the timekeepers being this like only my reality matters
Because of the bureaucratic nature of the TVA.
Yeah, and we're going to use ultimate power and ultimate control to maintain this fascist timeline versus one that allows for the existence of multiple universes and multiple concepts, even if you have Nexus beings that are fighting other Nexus beings on that timeline. So I mean, maybe I'm a little so far right about Sylvie experiences some trauma at the TWA as a child. It takes her mom away from her. Or, we know how Loki is close to the mom, right? So at least in his universe, and maybe that how some of the strings like in multiverse theories,
Yeah,
there's
like
always
there's gonna branch in.
common
Yeah,
piece, right? There's always like
we talked about that with the powers last week.
Yeah,
where the
everybody
powers are
looking
very
and
like
shit
very
that.
close to each other.
So I think she maybe loses her mom as a kid working for the TWA. Big reveal that spoilers. Big reveal that these people are like
Are variants. Yeah, they're variants of
They're
other
variants
people, right?
themselves, and almost like a stormtrooper construct.
Yeah.
Kind of taken from their timelines and staffed and maybe lied to about where they came from.
And stuff, because that's why they don't have any memories.
And I mean that's kind of what I'm getting from it.
So that's
time.
So that's your theory on the call. Triggs, do you have any kind of theories? I'll throw it out when it's my turn. But I know
so at least for like the whole Sylvie thing, yeah, I'm really not thinking that she's Enchantress. I'm thinking that like this is a name or an alias that she's taking. And the whole thing about her being a Loki, I still think that she's a Loki. The reason being is because she never corrected him ever once. She just doesn't like the name. So when you kind of put those two and two together, you're starting to see like a slightly bigger picture. So you're seeing her not correcting him, but taking an alias, kind of wants to stay away from the Loki name, especially after, you know, everything that she's been through, because she's already confirmed that she's been running from the TVA her entire life.
And that she's hedonistic.
Yeah. So like, that's kind of like her thing. So it's already kind of setting up that like, yeah, she's a Loki, but very, very MCU-esque. They're changing backstories. Happens all the time. Get over it. You know, it really happens all the time. There's nothing we can do about it. This is all Kevin Feige, you know, him doing his thing. But now we're kind of seeing this shift into where everyone kind of liked the fact that Loki was like a very, very big anti-hero with like a mischievous side and wasn't as big of a dick.
My son's
and wasn't as big of a dick as everyone thought him like out to be. And I love that aspect for him. Everyone thinks that he's going to go to like the female Loki and, you know, he's just, you know, kind of super underhanded, and, you know, he is. That's, you know, it's Loki. But I think this is going to be like a full 180 circle, kind of with the whole like Thor thing, you know, the sun will shine on us again sort of thing. And I'm really excited to see where this is going to go. The only thing that I don't like is that Kevin Feige has kind of already come out and stated that like Kang has nothing to do with this series. And if that is true, then I'm going to be fucking mad.
That sucks.
Right? Yeah.
Could be baiting.
Okay, so my call is we still have one actor that has not been introduced, which is Robert Duvall, I think his name. I believe that he's going to be King Loki, which is the old school Loki that with the fur shoulders, the one that comes out in the older comic books. I'm going to go off to say that he's the one that created Sylvie as the Enchantress. And that's why he was very abusive, because in the original comic books, Sylvie's introduced as the Young Avengers comics, and she's made by Loki during the time when he takes over Sif's body to be female Loki. So our female Loki doesn't look anything like
for the walls.
Yeah, pretty much. But you know what? I really think that he created her because he wanted a youngling or a sibling or someone to teach, a Padawan or whatnot.
Yeah.
But of course, like what's going to happen is you're going to find out that Loki or that world timeline was probably hunted down and killed, and that's why she became a variant, because that timeline's already been destroyed.
Yeah, and she's not supposed
to be alive. And that variation would literally be considered the Loki variant of that world, where Loki played the parent character to this character, like the Miles Morales Spider-Man story.
Yeah.
There was still a Spider-Man, but Miles Morales ended up becoming Spider-Man.
Speaking of Miles Morales, did you see that fucking
Captain
panel?
America?
Oh, it was good.
Panel?
It was a good cover. It was a really good cover. So, I mean, of course, it's all in celebration of the 85th year for Captain America. So we know that there's a bunch of stuff going on right now. And we've had conversations about, you know, the comic books they've been kind of raising and this and that. The thing is my problem is they want for people to accept Sam Wilson as the Falcon, as the new Captain America, because they need to portray that coming into the next movies.
But you're gonna throw Miles Morales.
You can't then start to make thin it out by a bunch of having another ones and then selling $125 Steve Rogers Captain America limited edition Marvel comic books thing, and then still keep pushing that Steve Rogers is still Captain America, because with us, Steve Rogers is always Captain America.
Will always be.
Yeah, will always be. So when they mention Captain America, we don't see Sam Wilson. We always see Steve Rogers. And that's not us being that we don't respect Sam Wilson as Falcon or as Captain America, because he did an amazing job. And they're writing him better than they did in the comic books, which I know that Kevin Feige said the thing about Kang, but I know that Kang will eventually be the baddie because we know he's coming out in Quantum. Yeah. But I don't think, I think it's far-fetched.
I don't trust shit that Lucas or Feige say
anymore
anyways.
But it's not in the sense of like, I don't think.
Made that shit up like at the end of Star Wars. Like they were like, they didn't know who's.
Well, this is also coming from the guy. When we called out Endgame, we were like, bro, that's Endgame.
That's Endgame.
Like, and he was
like, no, it's not Endgame. And it's like, Endgame.
Yeah, and then the Russo brothers did the same thing. They were like, it's because that's not Endgame.
In Marvel Infinity, the movie, Doctor Strange says this is the Endgame. And everybody was like, dude, that's got to be the movie. That's got to be the name.
They also released
a picture. Endgame was going to be the title of the film. And Kevin Feige was like, nah, that's not what it's called, man. We're just messing with you. And then boom, Endgame comes out like a couple weeks.
And then every fucking theory nerd.
They're always like, they're always stretching the truth. It's just like a magic trick. So like for him to say that Kang won't be introduced, we 100% know.
Football with Charlie Brown with
the wipe. Yeah, we 100% know that Kang's going to be introduced in Quantum, right? Yeah. We know that that'll probably be when he debuts. But we know 100% also, being comic book readers, that Kang is more recently a villain of the Young Avengers than the older Avengers. Even though he has fucked around with the older Avengers a lot, he's more of a villain to them. So with them building, everything's been a build up for the Young Avengers. Like even with them introducing Sylvie, like that was out of nowhere. Because we were, of course, you saw Wiccan, you saw Speed, then you saw the Patriot in the Falcon show. They talked about Hawkeye, Kate Bishop. They've talked about the daughter of Ant-Man. What's her name? Large girl. I forgot her name. Nobody ever listens to her name. Nobody remembers her. But she's supposed to be a giant person also. I know it's something that has to deal with giant. But
plus, I mean, we also have Miss Marvel.
Yeah, you have Kamala Khan coming out. You have America Chavez coming out. Like a lot of these Young Avengers are starting to appear, and all the older actors are all kind of like, cool, I'm retiring. Black Widow just said it. Scarlett Johansson.
Except for fucking Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth loves his job.
Yeah, he was like, bro,
You'll have to
this.
Yeah.
You see how jacked I am?
So
I'm 33 years old.
for them not to,
I'm good.
for them,
Good for it.
yeah, they're gonna make me do this. I'm gonna make them pay me for
Yeah.
it. So for them not to say that they're gonna introduce Kang, I can see that, but they will introduce some variation of him, which I think Mortis will probably be more than.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that a Mortis is probably going to be
So
that.
so my thing is, I think King Loki is going to be introduced, but you're going to find out that this Loki is going to be the staying Loki, like the young one, which is the Tom Hiddleston.
Mhm.
They're going to give reference to the old one because everybody wants to see that evil gesturing like Joker one, right? They want to see that evil Loki, which is what we were talking about, and they're going to give it to us finally as the person who raised Sylvie but was abusive, and then this Loki's going to save her. That's what I think, and then she'll like team up with him in probably like the next movies or whatnot. Then I think we're going to find out that the TVA is not run by the three time variants. I think it's going to be Mortis or Kang or King Loki, and that's why Sylvie wants to destroy it in the first place. That's what I kind of
the basic the bureaucrat from the TWA. I think that she's actually
like a member of it. Well, that's probably what she was probably a member of it,
She's either face it, like,
because she probably got brought in as that variant to be wiped out and changed into an agent or whatnot, and then she just disappeared into the timeline or whatnot. I think it's a cool show. I think I'm kind of disappointed that knowing the third episode was such a drag compared to what it would be in the sense of storytelling. Like the third episode should be like, you know, it should fucking tell you, like,
ended on a huge cliffhanger though.
I really did like the ending though. The ending saved it when the girl walks away, Sylvie walks away, like, and Loki's just just standing there. I think that was really good. I think that was really good. So
They probably had a lot of setting up to do.
it was, dude. It was a really interesting ending. I know you don't really watch this stuff because you haven't had the time to, and I know you're kind of like, I'm gonna watch it. Just give me time. At the ending of the show,
Maybe I want to put him on tour.
at the
the
end of the show, it was like this huge this huge explosion, and this thing happens, and everyone's just there, like just staring at it, like flabbergasted, like just floored. And the chick just walks away, like, shot by herself, dude. Out of like 40 people, it looked like there was just a group of people just looking at this thing explode, and she just walks away, like she's like, "Fuck, dude, we're so screwed." Like she's the only one that's just like, whatever, dude, I'm done. Like we're gonna die. That's it. Like I'm giving up.
Like a little bit like a Titan AE. Like all those
like a build up, like
at the end of all the like the life saving pods and all these things, and like the you know, they're just getting wrecked.
Yeah.
It's
It was a good. So far for me, the Loki show is going good. Do I feel like it's something like they promised us that it's gonna fulfill us to the next phase? No, not at all. I don't feel like it's really giving me anything for the next phase yet.
I mean, we still
got 3 episodes, which I'm hoping.
So little exposed each one.
Yeah. So that's
the thing. Like you can't just go balls to the wall.
I really hope so.
entire
They gotta
time.
be like they gotta be
Because if you
filled
do,
with
you're gonna get
information.
burnt out.
Yeah, they gotta be
If
filled
they
with
did
the same
action,
with
like a lot
WandaVision.
of events that just turn it. You know what I mean?
and you know what? Like speaking of action, I really wasn't taken on the action scene at the end. Like I really was, like when they're running around and they're dodging things and fighting the dudes and all that. There was that one part with the building. I don't know if you guys, I don't want to say too much because I hope you get to watch this. There's a one part with the building that Loki turns around and looks at it and it does like a thing. And I was kind of like, wait, how does he have that much power? I've never seen him have that kind of power before. You know what I'm talking about?
Make the building phase shift.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even like he literally like, okay, so I don't want to, man, sorry, Josh, man. The building's going to fall on him. And it's a huge piece of a building. Like it's huge. And he's just like, I got it. And he looks up and it just stops. And then he swings it back. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? Why didn't he just like float themselves to the city instead of walking through the desert? if he gets that kind of power.
Because he's hedonistic, dude.
Yeah, he's just like, I want to walk.
This is literally all for the lulz.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. But then again, like a lot of people are saying, like, well, he pulled that item to beat the dude up in the previous one, so he has some kind of like telekinetic power or something. But it's really been nothing that I've never seen Loki do before in the films.
Well, he is a god, you know, like, so we have to.
No, he's a frost giant.
He's still a god.
Well, yeah, I guess. He's a physical god, but he had to learn magic
Yeah.
for him to be able to be that
And who
successful.
taught him-
Freya.
yeah, and
Freya.
Freya taught him magic.
Yeah, and Freya's good.
Freya's no slouch.
I
dude.
like the dynamic where they
explain them all.
the other Loki didn't learn a talent, and then
I
the other
really
Loki-
like that.
That was a cool
I really-
change, etc. Yeah.
I was telling my roommate, like right as soon as Loki mentions Freya, the girl's like almost like her demeanor changes, and she's almost like reminiscent of being like, well, tell me about her,
Yeah,
like because there's this as like a
Same
humbling.
thing happens in
It's so
in
wild.
Spider Multiverse anytime that like Gwen Stacy and
Yeah.
Peter Parker talk about their
previous lives and stuff.
others, etc. and how it caused, like I couldn't save my Peter, etc.
It was such that was a really good scene. I really liked it, but yeah, that's my take on the Loki show. I think King Loki's gonna appear, and that's who Robert Duvall's playing, or Robert, whatever his name is. He's playing an older version of Loki that's a complete and utter asshole that we've been wanting to see. And the younger Loki is going to end up being the Eichel. Our Loki's going to be the Eichel, which is the young Loki that's building more for himself, even though he's a good guy. He's not a bad guy, but you know, he still wants cool shit.
Yeah,
And he doesn't care how he gets it.
My only thing about the whole Eichel thing is that little fucker's like in his teens. Like he looks like he's in his teens.
Oh yeah, this one does not look like him. Yeah,
No,
but
so that's why I'm still more leaning to like huge horn Loki, the one that you always see interacting with Thor.
that's the one I think is
Yeah.
going to come out. That's the one that I think that older guy's going to come out. I think I think that's who he's playing. So that's just my take. I hope it happens. If it doesn't, I'm not as good as I say I am at comic books.
Hyperion.
Yeah, Hyperion. Hey, dude.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Heroes Reborn just ended, and
I know.
it turned out to be pretty good a little bit.
Yeah.
Turned out to be pretty good. I want to cover it, hopefully, probably on our
Yeah,
next
man,
show.
Do you remember?
I need to finish reading it. It's good.
Do you remember Heroes, like the TV?
The fuck
Yeah.
yes, dude.
Ah, that shit
Yes.
was so
you remember
funny.
Heroes?
Don't get him
Yeah.
started,
Yeah.
dude. Don't get him
Oh,
started.
that was an amazing show.
You don't have to get started.
That was an amazing show.
I do want to take a moment to plug.
Yes.
We have a friend who unfortunately experienced a medical event, and to tell the listeners and stuff, the people out there, his name is Michael Cardenas. He experienced a stroke.
Oh no.
He's really lost the use of the half of his body right now. He's in therapy. He's doing okay. He's recovering. He looks like he's heading toward a full recovery or whatever, but he is we're gonna give the Average Boys a link to a GoFundMe page today. So if you guys are listening and have any I think we're gonna do a barbecue fundraiser in July 24th later on. We'll give you some information on that. We do that on Harvey's on 10th. But we don't have the promotional materials for it right now. But if you guys have any have anything in the gas tank, so to speak, etc., we'll share that GoFundMe. He's a local guy. He's
MTG
Michael
player.
Cardenas.
He's a Magic the Gathering player.
Huge in the MTG community. We all went to I went to high school with him. We all went to Sherryland High School together. Me, Josh's
Uncle.
from and I was best friends with his uncle when we were in 7th and 8th grade, and like I didn't meet Josh until years and years later, etc. like that. And so we all taught each other to play Magic together, made each other better players and stuff like that. And it's real unfortunate what's going on to him, and he has a family to support. So I just wanted to kind of not to bum anyone down.
No. We want to.
our community, from our circle.
We've always been about our
to,
community, so we want to try to help out as much as we can. Also, always about the community, and anybody that's out there knows this. We're always trying to help everybody out. So anyway, we can try to help
And
out.
Mike's
So
part of the community too.
yeah. So we're gonna try to see if we can get that GoFundMe later. We'll plug it at the ending of the show. We'll put it up on our comment section. Hopefully, anybody and everybody can go out there and help us. Even spread the word for us.
Even spread the word. Any bit helps. Spreading the word just helps getting it out there and stuff like that. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for plugging in. I hope we can help out. Hey guys, so how was your guys' week? I know we're getting ready for the Ninja Lan party, so tell me about what you guys have been getting ready for.
I've been tracking a band called Rogues and Renegades for the past week. We just finished up. We wrapped up an EP of 6 songs. So my week's been pretty busy.
Nice.
We spent a lot of late night hours tracking stuff because I'm very meticulous in the way
In the studio.
it needs to sound like an album. So in the spot that you guys see behind you,
which is
I make
amazing.
sounds,
Yeah.
and I make CDs and I produce albums. So.
Surrounded by the cool stuff that people send you.
And
from
there's
this-
sound
from this
dampening,
month.
so
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's not going to sound all like reverberated
Yeah,
and
it
stuff
sounds
like
nice
that.
in here.
I was really excited to come out because I know that you have you're a content creator, man. You make a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And you
So
go
I
out
make
there,
content. I make content for brands. I'm an endorsed artist for a handful of brands, mainly Legator guitars, Fishman pickups, and KSR amps. And I create content for them, and I keep it flowing. So aside from doing the studio stuff, I'm constantly creating content. I'm constantly working on my own music.
Created some fantastic content recently.
fantastic.
Yeah, dude.
The two ads. I don't know if you remember, like Inglorious Bastards, the angry Hitler scene, or
nice.
or the one guy that's like in a conversation, like but it's in a
Yeah.
foreign language, and like he's kind of down on everything.
So-
and he hears it. Or
So
whatnot.
I'm going on tour with Immortal Guardian here starting August 18th. We'll be on the road for a month. We start in Austin, heads all the way to New York and back, ends in Vegas. And I made this meme. It's that Russian guy where like the reporter's asking him stuff.
Ladies are
And I had seen it where
I
like,
love that guy, dude.
where the guy's like, oh, I'm in constant fear of a terrorist attack.
Yeah,
Like,
terrorist
"Oh,
attack. They killed him, and he's like, they killed him.
They killed him.
Yeah, and I found out the original meme is actually like it's about trance music in the back in the day, and she's like, "What do you think about this music?" And he's like, "Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible." So I kind of played off of them both. I did a meme where she's like, "Oh, like how's the music tonight?" And he's like, "Oh, it's very terrible. The beats are whack, the melodies are terrible." And he's like, "I wish we had some goddamn power metal." And then she's like, "Oh, Immortal Guardian's going on
Back on
tour."
tour.
And he's like, "Huh?" She's like, "Mortal Guardian's going on tour with Paladin in August," and he's just like,
And then he had done an angry Hitler scene. or
so
whatever,
I showed that to Ham, our good boy Ham,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Check this meme out," and he showed me another iteration
Right,
of the meme that we did of the Hitler scene. And I was like, we could totally do this, but you have to sit down and script it out. And I shit you not, like the next day he
already
gives me
had
a
it done.
script. And so we finally sat down and we put the script together and like reworked it a bit. And it's the script where like they're explaining, you know, like what happened to them, how they got cornered or whatever. And for us, it's like, oh, we discovered an event in the RGV called the Ninja Lan. It's like it's gonna be retro consoles, and Hitler's like,
It's a
retro
longer
consoles, or he's like, it's okay. They're gonna update the list later with some next gen games or
And then
whatever.
he tells like the
And
Smash
then-
guys to leave.
Yeah.
And
Ultimate
like,
And he's
everybody
like-
get out of here.
He's like, sir, they confirmed it. they're doing retro only or whatever. And he's like, what? All Smash Ultimate, Tekken 5.
Yeah, everybody out.
League of
Guilty Gear
Legends.
Strive,
He's
please
like,
leave the room
all of you guys leave the room. And he's like getting pissed off. He's like, what is this? Like, and you're mixing arcades with
Yeah,
LAN
it's
parties
so good,
and
man.
all this stuff. It was-
If you guys haven't checked it out, Josh posted up. It's freaking fantastic.
So
It's such a funny thing to look at.
So one of the things, talking about original Ninja Lan. One of the reasons I wanted to bring my friend LP onto the stage is, and we'll share a caption or picture with our after action comments,
Yeah.
right? So Ninja Lan 2000 was actually held in his house. What was it, LP? Tell us a little bit about what it was. It was 10 people, I think. What it became. And I know it was your dad's complex. Your dad has a complex, and
Clubhouse.
Shit.
There's a clubhouse over
That was
there.
me. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it was supposed to be only
Sorry.
like 5-10 people, and then we had hundreds of people come out. So we even had sponsors, vendors.
So it was like a
strippers.
small event that just turned into
it
a
was a
big
house
party.
party.
Yeah, it's just a house party of computer guys playing games, like all the hardcore games and shooters. And then it was just
Breaking switches.
everybody came out, all these people. I was like, what the hell going on? It got so bad. We actually had people's computers were going out because they kept having the power kept popping the breakers. We didn't expect that many people. We had to tell people, hey, headphones only, no speakers.
no powered speakers.
Oh,
right? Yeah. And then
Just so we can get somebody else's computer up.
And then my dumbass booked my band at the time, which is called Dark Broken Hearts, to come in, and we had to shut down half of the PC gaming section
just to
so
play.
that the band could play And there was so much salt in that room. Like
Yeah, they're like, I don't even want to see this man. I'm trying to get back to
get my
game.
game on and stuff like that. But no, the Ninja Lan 1 was in LP's dad's clubhouse, which is part of this like complex that LP's family lived in. And we didn't have enough tables. I mean, we had people on top of the foosball table, the whatever else table, pool tables, floors. You know, I don't know if you see the famous picture where they taped the one guy to the ceiling. I mean, running out of space at a LAN party is pretty like iconic. I have one picture of Lash is in a car because we'd sent some of the early attendees to stores to get tables. And to rental places, stores, Walmart's, Targets, wherever, we had multiple cars go to multiple areas to bring back extension cords and tables and stuff like that. Because I don't know, like it's like planning a party for 10. And
well, yeah, and then you pack that together with Michael Murphy's planning.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
I wasn't. I mean, for Ninja Lan 1 was there were three primary planners involved. Myself, Eddie Guizars, and all his gamertag has got a fire. We've been friends on and off again, friends, for years. And I hopefully he makes it to this one. But he had a big to do in the community, just like you were big in music in the Valley and stuff like that. So he had his thumb really hard on the gaming aspect of the Valley back then, and it was predominantly competitively. It was Counter-Strike.
1.6
and 1.6. So I mean, he had a lot of that, and then word of mouth, and it just got out of control. So I mean, that's why we'd had to start going. The next time we had to actually put planning effort into it. And there was also a lot of support out of like the local LAN kit. I remember last time I told you how we had Hard Drive Cafe, we had Micro USA. One time we got locked. We used to hang out at Micro USA every day, and one time my boss had left, Frank Arias. He had boxer ear. That's one thing I predominantly remember about him. But he had left, and we didn't have a key to lock up that night. And it was 4:00 in the morning. And LP's an architect. That was his first kind of day trade or whatnot. And the complex where Fast Eddie's is?
Yeah.
Fast Eddie's where the yacht club used to be.
Yeah.
So we were the booth right next to it's this Micro USA. It's a LAN party. It's like 15 computers, had all the games on them. And kind of what grew into other LAN parties, like the small network that would go there would be then the network that would show up to Bomb LAN and to Shabobo LAN and to Ninja LAN and stuff like that. So we get locked in. And thankfully, LP's an architect, and so he jury rigs one of these McAllen suites. It's such a well, you knew how to use it. I mean, you had a Swiss Army knife on you. It's such like that. Otherwise, we weren't going anywhere. And somehow managed to get the door locked so that we could go out the back, and then we were able to leave that night.
Nice, good job.
But yeah,
sure. Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't just my poor planning that contributed to it. There was a team of poor planners.
But it's crazy because I don't know if that's a skill that they teach you in architecture, but I taught myself how to pick locks. Yeah, I taught myself how to pick locks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I literally just wanted to. I wanted to learn. I just wanted to learn.
I did too.
Yeah, it's so wild, dude.
Yeah.
It's so
Kevin
wild.
Mitnick, a prolific hacker, and his if you get his business card, it's a metal breakout lockpick kit.
Oh,
He
badass.
gives you his business card. It's literally.
I love how
a
people
metal
do that.
breakout, yeah.
In the pedal world, they do PCBs
Mhm.
for pedals. So it's
You
like,
can
here's
just
my
grab the
card,
component.
and you just grab all the basic components because a lot of these pedals are basic components,
Right.
and you just wire it up and you got it.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
That's
capacitors, resistors.
But what makes $500 pedal any better than a $300? Is it better? Is it like vacuum tubes? Is it a secret?
Some
mouse
of them
in there?
do, yeah. Some of them have tubes. The quality of the capacitors. I mean, you're running sound through
Like
it, so
Nishikon
the
versus,
quality of
like,
your
the Japanese versus American
exactly. The cheap Chinese capacitor versus real
Yeah, we used to do that in
made
there
stuff.
too,
So
also. Okay,
it's
same
more
thing.
expensive. So if you have 20 caps in a design and 30 resistors and whatever diodes, use high quality
candy
this, high quality that.
We've reached candy time now.
Not only that, the design.
Oh, okay. That's always something I wondered. It's candy time.
No candy for Michael.
Yo, man, why am I the candy bitch, dude? What the fuck?
Because you're closer than us. You're closer than
I'm
us.
good. I candied out in the beginning.
Yo, so I want to ask LP, man, since you're all the way out there. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I didn't even get to know you, man. We didn't do the introductions or nothing, man.
Hey, what do you want to know, man?
Everything and anything. Give me a little backstory of yourself.
Myself,
Where it all started off. Where did LP start off?
LP, as far as the name,
Mhm.
that's mainly a childhood nickname. I've heard different names. I mean, people call me. I mean, all the people at work call me Yoda, but some people call me Low Profile. LP actually stands for Little Paul. My name's actually Paul.
Nice.
But yeah, it's where I mean, I've been called Paul or LP since I was probably 4.
And what do you do for work?
I do steel fabrication, so I'm in the steel business.
That's badass.
You still playing games?
Yeah, off and on a little bit.
What do you catch yourself playing lately? Or
What's your
Most of
poison?
the games I play are probably on my phone.
yeah. No FPS anymore.
Do you feel like it's gotten harder since we've been getting older, like to keep up with all the video games that are coming out?
For me, yes. It's just because I'm always busy. Like Michael knows, I'm always working 60, 70 hours a week. So I'm a workaholic.
On the grind.
That's pretty hardcore.
Got to make that dollar, man.
Yeah, of course.
Same.
In his youth, I used to pay for lap dances in Whataburger by burning him like copies of auto.
Those are like the essential of life, right?
Oh yeah, the essential of life. Right? I have no money.
It's on the pyramid of
LP had a
food.
job. LP was the only person with the job, like around our scummy asses. And so I would borrow money for lap dances, Whataburger, whatever else like that. And then and I would be like, okay, well, you just come. I built him a gaming PC, and I had a gaming PC, whatever we'd scrap together. But at a certain point, more of LP's computer was more my parts than it was
his parts.
Nice. About a
So,
year time, I ended up having his whole computer.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass. That's like that boat thing. What's that boat philosophy?
Oh yeah, the same shit like in WandaVision.
Yeah, the
same
WandaVision.
Philosophical question. Like if you have one boat, but every year
Like
you replace
Osiris'
another
boat.
plank of it.
Or if the wood petrifies,
yeah.
it's still DC's boat or not.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it was definitely Michael's PC, but it lived at LP's house.
So what was it that? Okay, so I'm guessing that when you were younger, you were part of the Shibobo stuff, right? Like the LAN parties and all the stuff that they would do when they were younger. The Ninja, right? Because I always hear you mention the Shibobo,
Ninja,
and then the Ninja by itself, and then Bomb and stuff. So these 3 were all different events at a time.
Yeah. So
Okay.
in Ninja Lan, the original Planet, found it. Me and Eddie planned it, and we were broke kids by high school. We had nowhere else to do it. LB was the only person who had any kind of space or capacity, which is probably why so many people showed up, because the concept or the desire for a lot of close, bigger events, lots of people playing around was high, but the amount of kids, 17-year-olds that had access to like venue halls or venue fees or places like that was low. And, Boys and Girls Club wasn't doing anything for gaming centric. The closest things you had were from the past Nintendo World Championships, which then abruptly ended. There was a gateway competition that you remember when there was gateway stores that were open in the Valley. They would do they'd pick a game like Jedi Knight Academy, and you'd go to Gateway's retail store, you'd play a couple rounds, place, and then and then they do a competition that way. But that was so it was I don't know, it was
a little cringe.
Impersonal.
It was
a
little cringe.
Yeah, it was like.
Well, on top of that, you also had like GameStops
hump a
and stuff like that, and
The GameStops was probably a little bit later.
Yeah,
GameStop was
later.
yeah,
It was
it was,
later.
but it was still like very early 2000s when
Yeah.
that started happening.
What was the place that used to be next to the House of China, the video game store?
Oh,
Next-
Game Freaks.
Oh, Game Freaks.
Yeah,
I remember
dude,
when
I
it
was
there
there
cut out of
all
cloud.
the time because I used to live on 6 Moana.
But the greater convalescing places to hang out and play games was Nickelodeon's Mr. Fun's
Yes, of
Funtime
course.
Pizza. That was which
But
is
PC
why
gaming was a whole nother
Whole other
demographic, and there
And
was
there-
nothing to feed it.
and so when you fed it a little bit, you would have great results. So Ninja Lan was probably the largest, most successful LAN party event, homebrewed one, and then we ran several events, and they would range in size. We would do there was A-Tech, A+ computers. We would work with a computer shop anywhere that Boys and Girls Club. There was an Alamo LAN party that we'd run out of the Boys and Girls Club several times, and they were pretty okay with $100, $200, etc. Because it's basically, even if you were charging $5 at the door, you weren't charging $15, $20, and $30
Yeah,
at
of
the
course.
door in 1999. And I mean that was concert level. That was you're going to the Deftones concert for $20, in 1999.
Yeah.
Which I did, and it was awesome.
Well, you know what? As a matter of fact, I
I
kind of feel like, I guess around 2015, 2017 was probably the death of the tech industry in the Valley. because that's when we started losing like Tiger Direct and CompUSA and
I used to
a
work
lot
at
of-
Radio Shack.
yeah,
too.
Radio Shacks and all this other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, in the valley. It
So-
turned
They've
into
been
Tiger
gone.
Direct.
Huh?
Yeah,
So-
it rolled over into Tiger Direct, and then
Tiger Direct
yeah.
eventually
I
died.
worked there with some original sponsors from Ninja Lan. So there was a computer company called Sector Zero Technologies, and they were a computer store open where like on in where like Jalapenos is right now and stuff like that. In 10.
Okay.
And they were like a revolutionary. So in the 90s. Everyone can think back and remember, what did your computer look like in 1998, right? It was probably a beige box,
The beige
Dell
box, yeah.
Inspiron 3000. That's what he had, an Inspiron 3300.
Yeah.
And it was a beige box with a button on the front. And
They
shit
sold
like
at
that.
Walmart. They always sold those
And
at
you
like
had some
Walmart. and
beige
stuff.
speakers. So there's just one day somebody decided to pick one up and be like, this is ugly, or I don't like it anymore, as humans do, right? And cut a window out of the side, glued some plexiglass to it.
Yeah, try to make it look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody
So-
was doing that.
So you had phases that happened to computers. First, they started overclocking the CPUs to get better frame rates and to get better performance out of games, right? So this is kind of what pushed CPUs. So games, the reason computers are as fast as they are today is 100% because of
Because of the
gamers.
gaming world.
Mostly LAN gamers from the 1998, 99 era that pushed this shit up and above the end. Because you didn't need, you didn't need 700 megahertz, 800 megahertz. You don't need a
Yeah, you don't need that to use
to
Word.
Word. Word
Yeah.
worked in
Yeah.
1988. Okay, guys, like we're processing work back then. So, so we pushed processors and we pushed case design and really corporate design. I mean, the 90s was a vivid. I mean, when you come to Ninja Lan, you're going to see it. It's hot pink. It's hot yellow. It's Saved by the Bell, jazz cups, right? Like the 90s had a look and color to it. And the computers that were around had nothing to do with that aesthetic whatsoever. Yeah. So they're a modding community. As much as the gaming and competitive community jumped up, the modding community was huge. And Sector Zero was probably the first company in the Valley that opened that was dedicated to window cases. So, you had personal modding, do it. And then corporate options became available. You had NZXT and Corsair and Thermaltake and all these. Leon Lee was a big case manufacturer back then. And so Sector Zero opened and they were in that plaza and they were offering, really, really nice PCs, plexiglass cases, cathode lights, all of that stuff. And they were an original sponsor of Ninja Lan 1. So they brought a lot of gifts, a lot of inventory, things to give away and stuff like that. Yeah. Brian, the Counter-Strike Team 1. And like, I can remember Brian Lewis, a very, very, very old friend of mine. I mean, he came with a computer that was falling apart. I mean, the side panels are gone. There was almost nothing left. It was a, sheet metal shell. And he won that night and he just started ripping it out and putting it in his new case because he'd won a case and stuff like that.
Nice.
And his parents came and they were all like touched. And like, oh, honey, you got a new computer case and shit. So I was like, that was a pretty cool type of thing or whatnot. So,
yeah, that's a really, really good memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's very interesting because we all saw those that were into the gaming scene and the computer scene. We saw the death of the tech industry in the Valley. So the idea would be like, okay, so right now, if people were starting to get into PC, where could they go? Because other than Best Buy, everything's pretty much online nowadays.
Yeah, it's Amazon.
Newegg,
I remember when
BMP.
Price Watch was what you would do before.
Yeah, but
Newegg.
the thing is, I'm talking about like here in the Valley. Yeah, because we don't really have anywhere.
Like seeing Fry's, not even in the Valley, seeing Fry's get run out of Dallas and Houston and stuff like that, and really Micro Center is the only thing left in like in
right
the
now.
cities.
It's pretty much just Best Buy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, right now,
Like
if you're going to want to go for computer shit, and I'm not talking Best Buy, I'm talking Micro Center. There's one in Houston and there's one in Dallas.
No, local.
And-
He's talking about
but
there's no one local anymore, right?
Best
And
Buy.
that's because I keep telling people, like, right now, if you really think about it, like Office Max and Office Depot, like they're on the way out too. Like
there's always going to be a need for like things that
but you can get all that shit
for shit like that and stuff that's very specialized that Best Buy just does not have. For me, one of the biggest saving graces for like Office Max staples and shit like that is the fact that they have some of them have FedEx places.
But I don't think Staples is around anymore, right?
It is.
Yeah,
Where's the Staples now? Because I know that the one in Edinburg closed down, right across from the university.
There's a Staples on
That's not the one on 10th.
there's the 10th and Xenia.
Tanzania.
Yeah.
So that one's still open?
Yes,
Cool.
I just called him the other day to get a quote, actually. And
Yeah,
I was like,
because-
I'm
Because
gonna
people
FedEx.
always need flyers and banners and
So the
stuff
printing
like
and stuff
that,
like
or
that.
whatever.
'Cause, I
like
mean,
print media and
Where's their Kinko's anymore?
folders.
Oh yeah,
It goes
Kinko's.
FedEx, so
Yeah.
that's where I go.
See?
Yeah, Kinko's
I
is
still
FedEx.
call it Kinko's.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
I told
Yeah,
I told
the
when
other day
we
about
printed the
Copy
Ninja
Zone.
Land.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Copy Zone
Like,
went,
where the hell's
etc.
Copy Zone?
We went to print
It's
Ninja
weird
Land
what the
posters,
Valley
and I was like,
tolerates
let's go to
and
Kinko's.
doesn't tolerate, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's an interesting dynamic to see what we've gone. I mean, there was an absolute global effect that had to do with the rise of the internet and like introversion versus extroversion, right? Like the internet becomes available, it brings us closer, and then almost immediately pushes us further apart. And continues to wave up and down in ways of that or whatever. I mean, we've seen the effect countless amounts of times. I mean, how many dinners can you sit through without your friends looking at their phones, etc. You know, but you know, which is where nostalgia comes from. So if we think about why is the concept or the idea of the return to Ninja Land such a fun event, I think it's a little bit of fatigue of kind of some of the
Isolation.
tendencies, the isolation of today, not just because of the pandemic, but because of some of the social isolation, you know, the farcity of being connected to over 60,000 people, you know, on a social media platform, yet seeing maybe 6-7 people in a week,
Yeah.
you know, face to face, etc. And nostalgia has it has a place in kind of bringing what did I love about my childhood? And if you ask Josh, myself, LP, like a lot of what we enjoyed about not working, right? Okay. Maybe like I enjoyed not working. I enjoyed playing video games, and I really enjoyed the time that I got to spend with the like-minded people or friends. And there was just a concept of like the new games and the bells and the whistles and shit like that, and all the pretty lights. Especially when there was such a lack, or you know, when the games before that were you know, before Doom was like Castle Wolfenstein and Math Blaster and you know, and shit like that, and it was like, oh, look, Oregon Trail, right? You know, I mean, you probably played some Oregon Trail in school. You probably played,
I remember that when I was
you know,
kid.
educational games but you know, Doom, slaying zombies and you know and blasting through hell yeah, and so you know. Nostalgia, you know, it's here to stay, and I think it's going to be an aspect of society.
And it hits hard.
And it hits hard, man. Yeah, and I mean, I in my little office, I'm surrounded by just dumb old shit or whatever, and I mean, I have a great quality of life.
Brings me joy. Yeah. I have a game room in the other room, and it's full of like every console you can think of from the Atari.
Yeah, we're thinking about
2600
podcasting there, but it was going to be a lot more of a bigger setup to try to get it done. Sorry, Big Mike's doing some stuff.
He's got a Wii.
Got to go use the baño.
Let's lock them in there.
Yeah, just lock him in there, right? No, but so like, yeah, we were thinking about planning on doing the podcast in the other room because of all the nostalgic stuff that Josh has, but
Yeah.
it was gonna be a little bit harder to set up.
Yeah, it's like a complete mess. It's like a mess of just like Michael brought me a PVM, he brought me a CRT. I got like these new games that I haven't even
Set up, yeah, you haven't set
I'll
up
go
yet.
buy like, you know, like carts of like Atari games. I for $50 I got like 30 Atari games and like 15 Sega Genesis games.
Is that like your pool, like when you go to the pool and stuff, or what?
Not really. Just like sometimes I'll watch on the Facebook Market.
Yes,
And I'll be
very
like,
good.
I'm down.
Very
I don't really
good.
like to go. Like, not that I don't like to go, but to wake up early and then, you know, it's a grind sometimes.
Let me ask you, dude. Like, so, like with the growth of the nostalgic era, kind of making its individual comeback, how do you feel on the price gouging that some people do on certain consoles and things?
It makes me sad. You know, like I still haven't gotten an official copy of Chrono Trigger. I haven't gotten my official copy of like some games, some rarity games. I'm super glad that I have my copies of the original.
Oh yeah,
But some of the ones that I wish I could have had the money when I was younger to pull the trigger on,
yeah.
I should have, because they've gone up like 2, 3, 4, 5 times the
Dude, I think I
price.
still have an original Mega Man X.
It's very.
I
yeah.
got one of those. Those aren't that bad. You know, $30.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah, I think
$30
it's just
game.
really weird, man. Like sometimes you'll see it,
But X2 and X3, because they use the super chip, I mean, they're like 120 and up. I think it's actually 200 for X2.
yeah, like I trip out sometimes when people will put up, like they'll have a classic Nintendo and they'll put it up like in a Facebook Market and someone will be like, oh, 250 solid.
No.
And I'll be like, 250 what, bro? Like you have a Nintendo, like the graphics don't compete with nowadays stuff. Like
And
Yeah, like
nostalgia,
what? How is that $200 worth of value?
I got 2 of them for $10 each, and I'm in the middle of refurbing them. But even then, I'm gonna spend like $20 in parts and refurb them, and I'm gonna have 2 badass.
It's the same
Nintendos.
effect we've seen out of flea market selling in the
like we're talking about, like
we used to get like a deal, and now it's like you go and you're gonna get like marked up.
One
internet
vendor will
prices.
get lucky and sell something expensive one time and then try to demand that. I mean, it's the same thing with eBay listings or whatever. Somebody that, you know, at any given time, there's only X amount of power gloves available on eBay, right? So when you have a low supply of power gloves on eBay and somebody goes in, and so when there's low supply, all prices, everybody jacks
Supply and demand, yeah.
And then you buy one, right? Somebody pulls the trigger because they're throwing their own event, or they need one for their kid, or as a gift, or for maybe you have a movie that's filming and they're like, I just need a power glove.
I just need it for a prop or
Right.
something.
And now it's sold at that price, and somebody can now use that as justification to say that's the medium market value. And that, I mean, it's not the stock market, but it's definitely what happens. Influencers have also had huge amounts of push. All the influencers, like Metal Jesus Rocks does hidden gems games or whatever, right? And he talks about in his like casting or whatever, he talks about games that you may not have known and blah blah blah, and it's a great game because of this, right? And so immediately scalpers now, they use his model or anybody that's an influencer doing hidden James game sets, and they'll take those lists of games, they'll buy up the supply that's available, and then wait 2 months and then relist everything. And there's it's amazing technologically to see, if you look at no further than the GPU, it's crazy to see how you can't buy. I mean, NVIDIA can't figure out how to manufacture and sell a GPU from their factory to a video gamer who's just looking for one video card. And literally,
you know what they've actually started doing? And I'm like, I know this because, I mean, I follow dozens of tech tubers. So what they've done is they've actually contacted a lot of these like tech tubers and a lot of these influencers, and they're like, we're going to give you like a pallet of 300.
Mm-hmm.
But what you have to do is you have to make a link, but you have to make it like a questionnaire, and that will immediately stop bots who are trying to scalp, because that's what scalpers are doing nowadays. They're using bots to immediately buy up that supply. They'll have like 15, 20 grand, boom, buy up the supply.
Imagine a musical world, Josh, where scalpers just figure out the perfect system, and every time Deftones or Immortal Guardian or anybody goes on, they come in, they automatically take all the tickets.
What do you mean?
Oh,
that's they've been doing it since before you guys even. We've been dealing with that for years.
Yeah.
Like, it's not what if, it's like that's what they do.
I didn't know.
That's what they do. Especially when you got like the biggest, like let's say Cher announces a tour.
Ticketmaster is like
the bots buy them and they buy them in seconds. You know what I mean? In minutes, and like you can't even get your ticket in because their bots are flustering the servers.
It's like a huge investment firm, and then I mean like rogue investment firms or whatever, just huge like mutual funds with like ridiculous amounts of money or lines of credit that just go in. Sometimes it's not even money, like capital money out. Sometimes it's just lines of credit that they're able to buy upon, and then they've sold the product before they even have to pay the freaking credit bills and shit. It's wild. I mean, it is happening on a smaller scale with retro games. Because
a new retro game doesn't come out and everybody just goes and buys them all. It's more like they have to do some footwork and go find that game at a good price and then mark it up. And what's happening is they'll buy it and then like something will come out, like a new game, and like
movie appearances, right? Like Stranger Things, or I mean, bows, right? Bow sales after Avengers and Hawkeye became after Hunger Games and Hawkeye, bow sale, but the bow industry came back from a near.
I mean, as a matter of fact, if you look at it, you can compare it right now to Battlefield 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, all the servers have been swamped after the release of Battlefield 2042's trailer.
49, yeah, or whatever.
Yeah, after that trailer released at E3, like everybody jumped back on Battlefield 4. Like a lot of people are leaving, of course, the Warzone game.
Dude, and Fortnite, weird, like actually Battlefield 4, I think was free on Epic.
Yeah, pretty much it was free that weekend.
It was sick, dude. I got it, and like
it's an amazing game. It probably is one of the like top first-person shooters, and a lot of people don't hack in it too much.
I have a weird Overwatch is about the newest FPS that I can play.
That's a horrible first person.
I
fucking hate Overwatch. I hate that it doesn't have a run
The
button.
fact that there's no aim and it fucks me up, dude.
The part that you just don't have a run button. That it's a special for one of the soldiers to be the soldier 76. Yeah, he like his run is
It's
an
dash. It's not.
No,
run.
Halo has Halo always runs.
It's
Halo
not.
never was running, and then even when they did reach, you have to have your guy.
Yeah, but
No,
it's,
but
it's,
his-
it's okay.
his
but you're
face is always
confusing dash for run.
Oh,
Yeah, he's always running.
So you're,
He's
you're
always
confusing
running.
dash for run because like every game is always set at run, like Counter-Strike, Halo.
Yeah, but that's a weird.
Tournament.
It's like almost like
And then,
like a jog.
and like
You know, the other
so
ones.
what does run have with it? Run has sound, right?
Yeah.
So run has sound, which you give away your position,
Mhm.
and then you could shift mode. You could walk, which would give you quiet movement. You know, in most FPSs,
Mhm.
and then you would have dash, which would make you really 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 loud. And would give you like kind of rapid or movement, etc. like that. So like 76 has just got a dash, whereas a lot of other characters don't really have a.
Yeah,
have
but
a dash.
but his dash takes up a power supply or something. Like it gives you like it's one of the buttons
No, it
that
doesn't.
takes
it doesn't-
up. I thought it was one of those ones
No,
that you have to like
it's just
recharge
shift.
it.
It just you can't like you stop running when you shoot is all. So you hit shift, so he goes into dash mode. He dashes.
And none of the other characters have the shift run, right?
I mean, a lot of characters have mobility or speed boost and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Diva has a
The
dash,
charge and stuff
but
like that.
they're shorter temporary. The only thing that is 76 can dash continuously until he stops, like
To shoot.
and to shoot.
I guess
That
that's what I'm
sounds
used
like a
to.
run.
Yeah.
You know, like when I dash
all characters are
for a
running.
long time, I usually call that a run.
Yeah, like for the games that I'm used to,
But
I'm
all
just
other
used to
characters
always
have like a run speed,
Yeah.
and all of the characters are constant run, and they can all slow down to a walk, and then which is a quieter movement, unless you're someone like Reinhardt, which is always just making noise when you move,
Mhm.
and then you've got like Diva's got a dash, short temporary burst, high speed, etc. like that, and then you got Lucio and all that. My point is that like other than Overwatch, modern games like real hyper realistic, ultra realistic. I mean, I never really got in the Call of Duty mind game and stuff like that. I mean, at 1.6 was my vision of like the perfect first person shooter. Yeah, I enjoyed Far Cry. I enjoyed Far Cry 2, with Source Engine. I mean, a lot of stuff that was going on.
on Source. Mine was Dead Defeat. I like Dead Defeat.
Ooh, Dead Defeat is great.
Yeah, Dead Defeat was a really really great first person shooter, and it was all off of the Counter-Strike engine.
So for me, it would have to, I mean, obviously be Crysis, because I mean, I built a computer specifically for that game. But one that will always hold true very, 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 very much to my heart, and I believe they're actually thinking about remastering it, is Fear.
Fear. Yeah.
Here's a fun thing.
Fear was good.
We shared this. There's actually an FPS documentary coming out, guys. Did you hear about
Nice.
that? On 6/26, they start the Kickstarter for it. It's fpsdoc.com. So they're doing this kind of like like insert coin on Netflix or whatever. Toys That Made Us. All these kind of like nostalgic documentaries. There's going to be this great. I just seen a promotional ad for it today. I shared it on the Kinetic Facebook page, but it's the trailers for it are amazing.
Mhm.
I mean, all sorts of great jump clips between all these different. I was like, wow, that'd be a great trailer for Ninja Lan. I mean, Josh was talking about that, but it's going to be a really cool thing. I mean, they're going to talk with like. I think they've got interviews with Romero and Camarak and
Nice.
modern
Hope
interviews
Fatality.
and stuff like that. Hopefully, Fatality. Yeah, it was a huge
Picture
piece
right
of it.
there.
I was about to be like, well, I
you
mean, he
can't-
was like the first big prominent
guys right
sports
there.
player.
Fatality. Man, I mean,
He
was
fucking motherboards named
that was
after
the
that guy.
first time you could get licensed hardware like
Yeah.
like gamer tagged hardware. And the thing is in like being a LAN party gamer, at least from South Texas, being a LAN party gamer, everyone hated him but
Yeah.
wanted to be him.
Oh yeah,
Everybody, I mean, like you still see that today. Everyone hates XYZ,
yeah.
favorite celebrity, but you would bang a turtle to be them, right? So like,
point.
yeah, and the Fatality
Bang
that
a
was our
turtle.
generation
Yeah.
there. That was definitely like we wanted to be him. We wanted the contract. We wanted to have our own signature mouse and keyboard.
signature.
But we hated him,
motherboard.
and
Yeah.
all we would do is talk so much trash about how his motherboards were terrible and how he was terrible and blah blah blah. And yeah, it was jealousy, it was shade, it was salt, Johns, whatever you want to call it.
Josh, I want to ask
So-
you something, man.
What's that?
Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom.
How and why?
Sonic Boom is pretty much it's a video game tribute band, and these guys were actually a band before I joined. I actually joined Sonic Boom but took over and basically just made it mine. These guys
My
had
band.
Were they,
yeah, pretty
were they
much.
less nerdy? Were they nerdier or less nerdy when you joined?
They were less nerdy.
Less nerdy. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the guys had originally hit me up, Fernie Shredder Salinas of the band Severance. I don't know if you guys know him.
Yeah,
He has that Akuma tattoo where it looks like Akuma. His fist.
His
looks
fist
like
is
Akuma's
Akuma,
fist.
Is it like
Yeah.
an Akuma tattoo store that
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
about
Chris.
or whatever?
It's-
Yeah. Chris De Leon, yeah.
Chris
Shout,
DeLeon.
shout out to Lionheart Tattoo.
Which
Yeah.
got some dope work done from him. I got some
Yo,
work healing
very
up
nice.
right now.
This is
But,
this is one of Chris's.
Oh yeah. So he asked me to join back in like 2014 or so, and I was just too busy with the cover band and starting up Widowmaker Studios.
Fucking radio on repeat.
And then like 3-4 years or something like that passed by, and I got an offer again from another member. And I was like, that's funny. Somebody asked me to join a video game band. He's like, oh, yeah, it's the other guy. He's the one you're replacing. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's funny. So I came in and they're like, yeah, Ramsey has this event coming up, the first Gamers Expo down here in the RGB.
Nice.
Okay, yeah.
And he was like, we kind of want to play it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And they're like, here's the set list, learn the songs. I learned the songs. And like, I was working on a cabinet for Ramsey. And I'm like, yeah, I just joined this video game band. And they were saying they want to play for your event. And it's like, oh, I didn't know, but I'm so down for that.
Yeah, Ramsey.
So I
dude.
told the guys,
So
but I
rad.
showed up to practice, ready to practice. And the drummer knew like nothing. He actually knew more songs months prior, but because they hadn't been practicing or whatever, he forgot the songs.
Oh shit.
So he was just like,
fucking work
we're 2 weeks out. Okay, we're 2 weeks out.
Drumsticks are falling out of
And,
his hands and shit.
And
What's this drumstick?
we're like, we're gonna have one more practice, and hopefully you guys can freaking man up one more practice from now. And he doesn't show up. And at that point, I called Richard Ferguson, my drummer, to
Oh
come
shit!
in.
Yeah, I know.
And
Rich.
he's the guy who's capable to learn a song in a week and a half.
Nice.
A set list of songs in like a week and a half. So we bring him on board, and one of the first meetings I had with them, they didn't even have a name. You know what I mean? I was like, well, I think that Rom actually wanted to call it like this super like.
Super Laser Ultra Fun Time.
He wanted like this like Halo reference that nobody would get, like Guardians of Girl. I don't know, some weird thing. Like I forgot it was some weird like Halo reference that
faction
nobody
within
got.
the
Guardian of
Halo
You know what I
Guardians,
mean?
yeah.
And the
I think I
thing
know what
is-
he's talking about because it's something. It's Guardians of, and it's like Gargantua or
I don't even
it's something big
know,
because
or
it's
like,
about the ring. It's the Guardians of the Ring.
so he wants to name it that. And I'm like, he's not even a gamer. He just like he did some
He
research.
just heard some shit.
He did some research, and sometimes research will show you some stuff, but it was some
Video
deep
game,
research.
just
I
Googling
guess.
the word video game.
And
over and over again.
I had already
Table.
thought about
What
it.
is
Super
video game?
obscure video
Remember
game
you see that
references.
commercial where like the physical Google, like the person that's a Google or whatever?
Uh,
It's a funny commercial, and like there's a guy who's dressed up as Google or whatever of like t-shirts or whatever, and he's like, oh, he's trying to get wet t-shirts. He's like, oh fuck it, he has to like it's a fun commercial. So.
okay, let's check it. The only commercial that I remember is the rent-a-car one where everybody falls asleep in the car because of the aroma candles.
Mm.
I don't know if you guys ever remember that. They're like, we have this new idea for a rental car. Like, what did we offer? And aromatherapy candles. And it's like,
What is
shows the
video
two guys in the back seat asleep, and then the passenger asleep, and then the driver's asleep. And you just see the car crossing the expressway. And I was like, it's genius, dude. That's fucking genius. Fucking genius.
What is video
Yeah,
game?
what is video game?
So I had been sitting on the name Sonic Boom because I knew if I ever did a project like this, it was a perfect name. I mean, it's a big reference you can get. You know, Street Fighter, the game that put fighting games
On the market.
on
yeah.
the market that made them all was the
And the Guile theme goes with everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
Guile theme goes with everything.
everything.
Yeah, it goes
So,
with everything.
I just, I thought it was perfect. We had already played, 3 Street Fighter songs. So we named it Sonic Boom and we played that gig. And from there, I just while I'm a studio producer, I obviously had all the sources to do everything I wanted. So I just kind of took over, started writing more songs, produced the next album.
You put like the video content that goes with your show. You
Yeah.
just kind of put all that together.
So
then?
like actually they had wanted to get into video stuff
or
themselves. So Rom had put together like a good handful of the set list together, and he just didn't know how he was going to be running. But me being the tech guy, I already knew what I was going to be running the videos on, what the backing tracks were going to consist of, and all that stuff. And shortly after, our bassist, who was actually a guitar player, dipped, and I got my bassist Joanne Zaldua in, and we just started hashing it out. we played some more shows. We were getting some traction. We were doing PokeFest. I would do things like I showed up to PokeFest with an electric kit, and we would all plug in direct, and we'd have speakers and we'd play, but it sounded like the CD because, I mean, I was producing live pretty much, and we sounded like the CD. And I had some friends, like Fish House was like, "Yeah, I thought you guys were seeing." He was like, "Oh man, they must be playing the CD over there or something." And he goes by and I was like, "No, they're playing it. We had a light show at the time. I put the light show together,
Ashley Simpson,
which took a long time. And everything took a long time. To get the video up and running 100%, it took a long time to do that. To get the light show program, get it running 100%, it took a long time to do that.
Yo, and on the background of this, like, because I remember you guys playing PokeFest, because we were guested there at that time. My friend Christella, she was guested there as a cosplayer, and I heard you guys band at that event, and I was like, "Yo, that's the fucking Street Fighter Guile song or whatever," and Christella was like, "Okay, cool, like." All right, and I was like, "Well, don't you understand?" In my mind,
if I had been somewhere else in the valley, I would have just started. Like, obviously, I was there for the show. So Josh and I've been we met at RealmsCon.
Yeah,
he was running out sound at RealmsCon is when we met. And if I had been somewhere else in the valley, and all of a sudden I'd heard Guile's theme like playing,
it fucking freaked me out because I was like, it was at okay. First off, it was a convention, and at conventions, when you're in the crowd, like just on the floor, like they're just usually playing elevator shit, like just
and
music.
Not only that,
like you never get live music in the room.
No,
never.
They have a
now
main
it's starting.
stage.
Now it's starting to be bigger.
Now you're seeing a lot of video game
and
DJs.
You guys at the time, I don't think you were on stage. You had your own booth.
No.
You had your own
what
area.
we did was we didn't book the stage. I told them
it would have been more important to book the stage.
Of course, I told them, like, this is my idea. Like, we can do low volume thing. We want to rent a booth, maybe 2 spaces big. Can we do that? And luckily I had some friends who were running it, Sunaid, and they were like, yeah, we're going to give you this spot. Margaret.
Yeah.
We're going to give you this spot. There's actually going to be no other guys around you. You're going to have a little spot. So when we got there, I set up the light. I made our own stage.
They fucking killed it, dude. Like, of course,
wireless packs
it was
around the convention.
I was so blown away by this, and I had already been to several conventions that I had never seen a band like live on the floor around all of everybody else. That, of course, they're isolated to themselves. But I never seen that before. I never seen it with a floor level.
Booth. It was genius because you would walk up. We had flyers. I made flyers for each performance, and I told the guys, we're gonna do like 3 performances throughout the day, and I'm gonna do two of my own performances of just me playing like guitar. And we would like have the flyers there, and people would come up like another booth, and I'd be like, here, take a flyer, and they'd be like, no. You don't understand.
You don't understand. You're gonna like this.
Like, it's free. I'm just asking you to come check out my band at this booth at this time.
And I remember I went up to Margaret later, and I was like, yo, why don't you guys have these as a set, like where you allow these guys to play on the main stage? Like, it should. And I told them what you should have done: hold your convention and all your cosplay and all this stuff, and at the very end, when everybody's tearing down and getting ready, like, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna do this, and you have people still walking around, you have a live performance. And you have a live performance, like an hour and a half even before teardown.
The following year.
And it's such a better idea.
The anime conventions have always capped off with like
a performance
with a dance,
a rave or something like that,
set or whatever. Because there's an ebb and flow. There's like the morning you wake up and you kind of get dressed, you go eat breakfast with your friends, you do the little bit of shopping, and then you do some gaming, and then like you kind of like it just like with a normal circadian rhythm, right?
And then like not only that, that's like for the people who are attending, the vendors, which make up a lot of the people, event, they have their schedule of getting in, loading in, then getting something to eat once they fucking put their stuff together, then dealing with the rush of crowd, dealing with the third after this rush. It's a great time for them while they're sitting down to enjoy that too,
and then also to add on to it, a lot of the times when they do host events and they do like events at the end like that, it's after hours. It's like at the part of the thing when everybody kind of
has
like
to go back and sometimes at a different
and then they say, hey, you know what,
there's definitely enough time to go to your room, get drunk,
and then come back out. So usually the music will start somewhere close to 9 or 10 o'clock, and the entire convention's like completely shut off. And it's a really great way so that the people that are renting the event center for the weekend get their money's worth for the nighttime that they don't allow cons to be open. Because usually cons will close about what 7, 8 o'clock.
It was wild. One of Ramsey's cons. I don't specifically remember which one. JDF was going to do part of this after party thing, and like there was 25 people in one section of the room. JDF comes in. He's like on the upper level stage, and he ends up taking a picture with everybody there, shaking everyone's hands.
Yeah, because it was such a small group,
such a small thing. But like honestly, I was kind of a little disappointed at the Valley because Ramsey had promoted it and talked about this like after hour with JDF, right? Yeah. There's been there's a couple of times that Ramsey or Coven had taken one of the guests, Michael Rooker. Coven and Ram took Michael Rooker to like DeLoreans after HorrorCon. And like I was there with my date. It was wild. I beat him in Super Street Fighter 2 and had a great time. And he was there.
Shout out to Michael Rooker getting his ass kicked.
Getting his ass beat. And he was salty about it too. He was like, "Did you know that I'm a celebrity and that you can't beat me in a video game?" I was like, "The hell you'll ever take a win off of me in SF2 or whatever."
Bro, I don't even know you in Street Fighter.
Like, yeah.
You're a celebrity in Street Fighter, boy.
I was like, yeah.
He's like, I'm the karate master. You see me in Mallrats?
Oh yeah.
My towel falls off.
No, he kissed my girlfriend though, so I mean, he got me back. But not tongue, no tongue. I mean,
celebrity bitch. Don't forget about it.
he just winks.
You don't want me.
Wink and gun.
And shit like that.
The wink and gun and shit.
Want a chocolate covered pretzel?
No, but I was a little disappointed with the Valley turnout to this after party event. I mean, had more people been there, and maybe like it would have been like he came, shook everyone's hands, and then left and shit like that. I was like, I don't know, man. Like I want to party with the Green Ranger and shit like that or whatever. If anyone knows.
So yeah,
go for it.
After the next year at PokeFest, we actually finally got on main stage and stuff like that. But we weren't even costumes then, and what happened was, PokeFest was in the summer, and we had RealmsCon coming up in October.
Corpus Christi, right?
Year.
Great
con. And we had been wanting to do costumes. What happened was when we made art for our posters and our shirts, I had Tattoo Chris draw us in video game characters.
Nice.
And what happened was Chris came over and
that's
we had
the
a
idea
meeting.
for the outfits. Okay.
Chris came over for a meeting, and I told the guys, "You got to pick now. This is going to be your costumes. I know we want to get into costumes. You got to pick something now." And Richard, I was like, "You're going to be Zero because he's a badass and your hair is super long, like past your ass. It's blonde hair." And Joe was like, "I'm going to do Samus." I'm okay. Do you? I want to do Richter, and Rom ends up being like a Sith Lord. So Chris does these caricature drawings of us. We actually go out with RealmsCon with all that, like the shirts to sell and stuff. I'm like, okay, RealmsCon is coming up. And we need to be dressed and ready. And like a month and a half before, like for a couple months, I was like looking all these like cosplay building materials, a lot of Evil Ted.
Yeah, of course.
A ton of Evil Ted.
Yeah, shout out to
Evil
Evil Ted.
And when it came to the guys, I was telling them, hey, we're going to pay for these mats. We're going to pay for the materials to do this. We need to start. I got the Pepakura files to start. Nice. I started from some of them from there and modded them. And I was like, let's do this.
That paper is rough, dude.
Yeah, it is because it's also for paper. It doesn't take in consideration how thick the stuff is. So sometimes
it's like a giant puzzle too,
down.
man.
Yeah.
Jeez,
so I did like his Samus suit off of that. And like when we did the Zero helmet, we took an Evil Ted. He has like some designs that you can buy for the match specifically. So we made that. It looks like a Magneto helmet.
Yeah.
And we made that. And then I literally just looked at pictures of Zero and took big butcher paper and I drew out like all the extra things and this, and then we made a triangle for the thing, and I was just gonna keep it a triangle like 2D. And Richard, as soon as I started teaching him, like we learned together, right? And he's a very hands-on guy like me, so we did the helmet together and we're doing these details, and then he got the knack for it and he's like, give me the Dremel.
Yeah, I'll do it.
He started like dremeling and making it look 3D, like he's got a diamond in that. We did the top half, the torso. We would have to measure him out and all that.
Hey, what's up, Pat? How you doing, man? We got a Pat Stucker.
Yeah,
what's up?
The most revolutionary moment of Sonic Boom was when you decided to offer Pogs as like a part of the merchandise package.
That was super cool, dude. When you told us about that, like
inspired.
So you guys have Pogs of your band members that you guys are going to be like selling to over there.
Yeah, we have them. We've had them for a good while. They're
so
like
rad,
it's like a sheet of 6 Pogs, and each Pog has
I hope
like
people
a
have
different
kept them
number.
and bring them to Ninja Lan and shit like
Yeah,
that.
dude, that'd be super cool.
Yeah.
That'd be super cool. I wanted to get some too. I told Triggs, I was like, dude, man, that'd be
They're
so
only
rad.
and it's like $5 for a thing. And I told the guys, it's like the dads. What happens is we get the dads who come in all the time. I remember playing Super Ghouls and Ghosts. I remember that
The
song,
Pogs.
you know what I mean? And then I'm like, they'll come with their kids to show them. I'm like, well, they can show them Pogs, you know, and the band that they just saw, here's Pogs. He buys a set for him and his kid, and they can sit there.
Pog it out.
I forgot how to play. I recently, as when we decided we were gonna have a competitive
Like a kid's
Pog
version
tournament,
of quarters.
and so I forgot how to play. I had to look up a video, and it was a terrible video. It was people they had no business trying to teach the game, etc. But I figured out the rule set again and stuff like that. But I mean, we're gonna be slamming some milk caps, etc.
I mean, I'm really excited for all the extra stuff that's going to be happening. I'm really excited for the pajama morning.
Saturday morning
pajama party.
Saturday morning cartoons.
I'm really excited about that. I got a pajama already set up, dude. Like,
My wife got me a real nice set of like Nickelodeon, like 90s era Nickelodeon.
Dog, I'm coming
yeah.
in like what I actually sleep in.
Yeah.
I'm
wearing boxers.
I bought me a fancy
Man,
outfit.
you
and
guys
stuff.
are expecting 90s shit. Fuck that.
No,
Man,
no,
I'm
no.
like, I'm
I'm married.
How a night.
I'm married. I'm married.
I get you a pajama shirt that says I'm married. Like,
Yeah, I've got
Just a loose
Green
fitting
Lantern
shirt.
tee, I got a Green Lantern heater
Yeah.
and some fucking dick sizers, you know. And,
Dick
you know,
sizes.
yeah, man, I got the fucking gray sweats.
Well, I mean,
so I got my meat gazers and my
I
fucking
sleep with the
Green
nude,
Lantern.
so if
Dude, I asked my
Yeah.
friend Christella, who's a
Right.
really, really big cosplayer here in the Valley. She makes a bunch of badass
She better be
costumes.
going.
Well, yeah, she'll be going. I asked her if she could make me a baby Yoda Snuggie.
Get the fuck.
So she made me a baby Yoda Snuggie. So I have this big like Snuggie that we bought all the material, but she made me like the ears are pillows, the head is a hoodie.
I don't know the
and the
retro
scarf.
police. I'm gonna
It's
make
still a Yoda though.
I'm
it's
gonna make a set. I don't know if you've like Con Police, right? Like there's the Febreze ninjas from like Akon.
Febreze ninjas
are like
Scram down.
Yeah.
but I might
No axe, please. Deodorizers,
Yeah.
not maskers.
I might enact some retro police, which may like kick out
Non-retro people?
non-retro stuff, non
You
2004.
fucking poser,
previous-
get out of here.
Yeah, I swear to God, I see someone playing a cell phone game, I'm gonna lose
You're
my
gonna kill it.
absolute shit. But yeah,
Someone playing
Just
fucking
for that, I'm gonna
Flappy
play
Birds, dude, on their
Cyberpunk the
computer.
entire time.
Someone rents the computer to play Flappy Birds and shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No,
You,
I
sir,
would,
out, no refund. Fuck out of
X'd
here,
out.
no refund.
Yeah.
So okay, so what when it comes to the Sonic Boom, you said that you had that name already picked out previous.
Yeah.
So had you already thought of a project to make a band dedicated to
I
video
think
games?
it was just like I knew I wasn't gonna find people and stuff like that, and if it did happen, it was just gonna take a lot of work on myself. And when I first joined the band, I was hoping that some people would like take some of the liberties into their own hands, but me being such a nostalgia whore,
Control
and
freak.
and it's just like it's got to be done right. Presentation is everything.
Of course.
I knew there was no other video game band in the Valley, so I wasn't just trying to do the bare minimum. I was trying to set a bar for everybody, and like this is the bar that I'm setting because I know I can do that. I can make video, light show.
There was no comparable
No.
performance act in Corpus, in Houston, in Dallas,
Or
I mean,
Texas.
in
Yeah.
San Antonio, at San Japan, at
Yeah.
RealmsCon. I mean, there wasn't that level. The level of entertainment that was nighttime entertainment that was good for cons that didn't shut at 8:00 or kick you out of the door at 6 was raves, like Akon's after hours raves with DJs. And they weren't even playing like they hadn't even at that time. They were still playing like non-8-bit music.
Yeah,
electric-
just regular rave
music.
just house music.
See,
Yeah.
the thing is there's obviously no other video game band down here in the Valley. Nationally, that's a different story. We
See, I
literally have.
wanted to know what the community's like when it comes to this. Like,
There's a lot of us. In fact, we're all friends with each other. I
that's
have
badass.
a really good friend who plays in a band, and one of the originals, Power Glove. I mean, we had two Power Glove covers in the set,
Nice.
and by our third show, we were already opening up for Power Gloves.
That's
Power
so
Glove.
rad.
So what happens is like, what do you do when you're already put in with your favorites?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There obviously is a bar set, and those guys set it. So like, since there is very little of us, I mean, I in this EP that we put out with Sonic Boom, which you can find at sonicboomtx.bigcartel.com.
Yeah.
We have people from all over doing songs with us. I have my good friend Ben Cohen from Power Glove, who I still work with. I'm actually producing some music for him right now.
We get Jared
I
Dines
have-
on that track.
All right. I have Thad Stevens from Descendants of Erdrick out of Austin, Texas.
Tim Henson.
Tim Henson. What do you know about Polyphia, bro? Come on.
So
well, metal
we
and
got
music have gone together for a long time. And look at Quake 3, the soundtrack. I mean,
Oh, yeah, dude.
Nine Inch
the new
Nails.
Quake.
yeah, shout out to
I mean,
Chris
Reznor
DeLeon
just
and that
came
other
first
dude
Quake.
for being able to sing on the opera.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, and I was like, dude, I was so blown away. I was like, dude, what a freaking awesome opportunity, dude, to be a part of the opera for Doom. What was it, Doom
Doom
Eternal?
Eternal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Doom
Doom
Eternal.
Eternal. Hey, we got a question for you, and it is video game band. What kind of music do you guys play?
So we
Video game.
play
Video game.
8-string metal versions of your favorite TV, movie, and video game themes. So you're going to be catching, some Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Halo, Pokemon. We have Super Mario Brothers, of course, Punch Out, Castlevania, a lot of Castlevania.
Yeah, 'cause you're a big fan,
I'm
right?
a big Castlevania guy. Final Fantasy and Zelda is going to be coming. We do have a Zelda medley that we do play right now, but it's going to get replaced with some others.
Nice.
We play a lot of these crazy tunes in our own 8-string metal version so that you can
So I have
headbang.
a-
We play Doom, so you want to hear the new Doom soundtrack, we also do that.
But before the comments coming from a guy named Pat, and Pat's looking at us through YouTube. Is there any way for him to find some of your music like on YouTube?
Right now, you can search up Sonic Boom TX. We have a Creature of Chaos, which is a Castlevania medley. We have Pokey Rumble, which is our Pokemon medley, and I believe we have the Street Fighter intro.
If you're feeling wild, you can actually play some of their songs in what's
So
the-
I actually have
Rock Band?
they're not uploaded for the public yet, but what we were doing at PokeFest and what we did it the last time, because we still bought a booth, is I put my songs into Clone Hero. I'm a big expert Guitar Hero player. I know what the notes are supposed to look like in Guitar Hero
Nice.
and in real life. Like I know how
So
to
you can
translate.
actually map them really well.
yeah. So I know
That's
like,
really cool.
I know a lot of people who are really good at mapping them. It's just I know what that song what it's supposed to play like on a real guitar, and I'm very, very familiar with Guitar Hero's
My
layout.
question is for someone who can't play the expert. When you're going to track it to medium, like medium difficulty.
I got that.
so I
Everybody
can
comes in
play
and is like,
it.
"Can we play on a lower level?"
Yeah,
Like,
do you
it's
have
just
it
no.
easy?
No, only guitar
Only
gods.
expert,
Only guitar
yeah.
gods. Yeah.
So a
I had
question.
somebody who was like, "It's lagging, bro," and I'm like,
no, it's
"No,
No,
it's not.
you're
It's
just
you."
slow.
Or there's like the notes are wrong. I'm like, "No, it's not. It's you." Like,
So I wanted to ask a question because for a while there was a certain part where people were slacking on Guitar Hero.
Mhm.
As a guitarist and as a well-known fucking guitarist in the Valley, like I know you're super well-known down here for it. Like, do you feel like the way Guitar Hero, the video game, was made with all the music and all the stuff they put in that it does kind of like give honor and
I think it can
homage
give
to the
you some
guitars?
dexterity. Some of the notes do. Sometimes you'll have a crazy part that goes, "Wee-lee-lee-lee-lee," and it's really just the guitar player going, "Wee."
Yeah.
But then sometimes you have a part when you're going da 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 da, and it still kind of translate more or less. I think it's not as crazy as drums. Drums directly translate.
Yeah, it's
if
gonna-
you can
yeah.
play expert drums, you can totally play real
Regular
drums.
drums.
Live. And I actually have I hook up an E kit, an electric kit, and I play real drums on Clone Hero all day because it's a great way to practice.
Yeah, it's a good way to
as well.
practice.
and you'll be able to do the same
At Ninja Lan.
Oh yeah, that's
And
right. So
we'll have
so
some of the Sonic Boom
so
games if you want to
at-
play
at Ninja Lan, you guys are going to be having a big
Rock Band Hero.
Rock Band Hero thing, right? Now that's going to be like a karaoke set, right? So it's going to be like where people can sing and
Yeah, so
and do all
we
this
have
stuff.
what we call Rock Band Karaoke. We have the
So-
entire Guitar Hero and the DLC, the entire set list. We have the entire Rock Band and all the DLC. We got over 2,000 songs.
that's so
All
badass.
into this
It came
one
out in a
game.
Rock Band game.
You play-
It's in
that
there.
library,
You have
yeah.
two guitarists, a drummer, and the vocalist is actually karaoke style.
And we got Donkey Kong bongas. We
we got Donkey
can
Kong
give you some.
bongas.
We might set up the bongas.
The bongos?
Yeah, the bongas
Oh,
from
that's
Donkey
so
Kong.
rad, dude.
Yeah.
So Michael's got a lot of crazy ideas, but
By
he's
chance-
the one who's got to carry that out. I ain't putting any
So-
promises there.
Not my commitment.
Bongos on the side of it.
So by chance, Michael, I know you're in charge of that part. Are you going to be doing the Japanese taiko game, the taiko drums game?
No.
So we don't have those, right? Those are fun, dude.
We have Sound Vortex, but it's a little too next gen.
Yeah.
But Sound Vortex is really great.
Is that the one that we're? Is that the one you got?
yeah,
Oh, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
That blew my mind.
It's like the predecessor to DDR,
Yeah.
but in DJ Hero.
It's so crazy because if you play DJ Hero, the game that he's talking about has 2 dials, a palm button, and then like individual
And piano
finger buttons,
keys,
piano
yeah.
keys, and it's
And it's like this
dude.
Japanese music where it's like
it's a very wild. It's wild, man. I just don't know because, like, of course, you guys working with arcades, right? And yourself working with arcades.
Yeah.
You know that there is a tendency for people to get upset with games and bash them and hit them. And
The harder you get the button, the more damage.
yeah. So this kind of game, like, I don't know, because it's like that's one of a kind right now. Here in the Valley, that game is
Yeah,
fucking
Ham got
one of
it
a
because
kind.
nobody else had it.
So it's like one of those things. Like, is it something that you guys would be willing to take, knowing that it's going to be like all of these people that are going to be able to?
Ham, he loves to show people the light,
Nice.
for lack of a better words, but he's all for that. He knows that there's going to come with some abuse,
Yeah.
which he'll keep an eye over. But I think he's got such a kind heart, and he just wants you to experience it. You know what I mean? So
Guys, if you have the opportunity, it's going to be wild. That game itself it's so crazy because, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It's such an opportunity
exactly
to play.
like Beat Mania, which was in the arcade.
Yeah.
It was like half a piano and some other things and a DJ wheel, and then DJ Hero. So it's kind of like the two put together. You have 4 white keys, 2 orange keys, and 2 rotating dials for your filters. And you have to multitask like no other. You're just like, you're turning
You
while you're
gotta,
doing
read-
buttons
read,
and you're doing
one
like,
side of the book with your left eye. And the other
Yeah,
side
hey,
with
man,
your
it-
right eye, and so, like,
I literally
yeah,
jumped into it.
books,
He
yeah.
put me on a beginner level, and I was like, I got this. So I automatically jumped to advanced, and I was not prepared.
yeah.
I was ill prepared, dude. Ill prepared. I don't know. It's like if you're playing Guitar Hero, one does the beat, the other does the fingers, which is it's not too bad. But when you have something that has to like trill over,
Yeah, because
that's the part that freaks me out, man.
You'll have to do this filter, which you have to keep a constant speed
Speed
over,
on, yeah.
and it's going left and right, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, while you're still like left side.
Yeah, it's wild. Because sometimes you feel you don't even want to grab the knob and twist it. You want to like rub it. With
you
just
go like this.
You want to rub it with your hands so that way it just doesn't get in the way. But
The pro
it's
players
just
are
wild.
playing like that, so I was like, okay, maybe I should be using it like.
So
this.
what's the name of that game?
Sound Voltex?
Sound Voltex. Guys, if you have the opportunity and you get to come out to the event, you have to try this game. You have to.
Just Google
Super
it.
recommended.
You'll see it.
Sound Vortex. I recommend it to anybody. It was such a fun game, and like I said, being that it's one of a kind, and no, you're not gonna find it anywhere else in the valley. You're not gonna find it anywhere else in the
The
valley.
hardware that we had to
Yeah.
spend a lot on it alone was ridiculous, and it's all import.
Man, that's so freaking wild. Okay, so okay, sorry, Tricks.
So I was actually gonna ask, this is kind of for both of y'all, and I was in bed yesterday and just thinking about.
Oh yeah,
this.
you were.
Yeah, thinking about both of you.
Yeah.
In bed thinking about.
Yeah,
video
I was
games,
like-
I was in bed thinking about Mike and
yes.
Josh.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I was thinking, I was like, are you guys gonna have any gauntlet cabs out there?
This is the.
He's got one, but
I've got one. It's.
you see the face he makes. He's like,
I mean, put a
he's like,
survey up. I mean, I think it would just dump every every cab, every cab that's coming in. The gauntlet cab that we have, like the dedicated
Shout
gauntlet
out to
cabinet
that
that we
guy.
have
Yeah,
access
Pat.
to, is a very big cabinet, and it's a lot to move. And
I mean, if you guys don't, I mean,
it's a pedestal too.
yeah, I mean,
we're not calling you wussies for not bringing
But
it.
you
Or,
know-
I
you
mean,
know
if it's
what,
too
though?
heavy,
Yeah.
Luckily,
if it's too heavy
when you
for
are
it,
all crammed inches
Whatever,
from
dude.
when you have like big old sweaty faces in your face because we have no more room to fit people, then
Lu-
yeah, we're like, oh, but we
luckily-
have all the games in here.
That's
So,
what
luckily,
I-
it's the only game that's actually at the end of his garage.
Yeah,
so I know it's the easiest one to take out.
it might end
of
up on the truck on the way over. Now that you've asked, right?
Right.
So now that you've asked, it's
People
yeah.
do like on the,
It's a good game.
player interaction.
Exactly.
The
So that's
4-player
why I was like,
experience is
yeah, and I was thinking about that. I was like, well, I mean, granted, it's not like one of those where you're gonna get like a dozen people who are gonna like play that game at the exact same time.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have 4 people or at least 4 friends who might be there and just be like, you know what, dude, let's hash out like an hour on.
And you
fucking
know
Gauntlet or
what?
something.
That comes a good question. I actually have Ham's 4-player pedestal.
Mhm.
It's a 4-player pedestal where we put a PC in there. So maybe it might be better just to throw.
Maybe you might have one dedicated
because it's
four-player
easy. I mean,
console,
that
yeah.
thing, we pull it out, we throw
They
it
can
in there, put a
multi-boot. You
screen
can put
on
Turtles
there,
in
and
Time. You can put
and it's
Simpsons.
got
You can put
all the
X-Men, you can
four-player
put- You
games
can put
on it.
Gauntlet on it, and they give them time. That may be something that we do or whatever. But
yeah, Turtles in Time is on there.
but they're it's
Simpsons.
like Cowboys of Moo Mesa. That's a really
on
great
there.
Oh, I
one.
love
Sunset
that game.
Riders.
That's a
Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
And there's
I mean,
like
even the
so many
TV show
Gauntlet
is
is
good.
one of those like I mean for me that game is fucking timeless.
Yeah. I remember that the Gaddies
people
one
are
they had. I
into
think I had like
Legends,
a
yeah.
level 60 Jackal.
Yeah.
You had to get to like 10 on a wizard, and then each of the classes had its own like unlockable extra class. Minotaur, Jackal, something else. But I had like to even get to that level took a bazillion dollars in quarters, and then I got to like level 60 with a Jackal, and I was like,
Nice.
oh, I'm the hot shit. And Mr. Gaddies. And so, especially like
Don't you
anytime you put the
fucking
input
forget.
code, like the Super Turbo has the Akuma input code, right? You know, like when you would switch your character, like you switch your character to Jackal, and I'm like, how'd you get a Jackal? This is Gauntlet Legends, right? Like there's only 4 classes. I was like, there's 8. So yeah, I mean, like being in the know, especially before GamePro and the Nintendo magazines and stuff like that or whatever, like let's talk about 2 games. Two of the games that gave so many Metal Gear Solid, right?
Love it.
Mantis, you know, this is
the
relatively
changing the
pretty
control.
changing the control and the virtual. It was the actual physical port. But there was a Sega Genesis game that predated it. Can any of you tell me which one it is?
Sega Genesis.
That had the same thing where you had a physical interaction with the console in order to beat a boss.
Wait, was it similar to the way that Metal Gear Solid, where you have to
Yes.
change the port?
No, not the port.
You had to do something else.
You had to interact with the console. Yeah.
Was it like
It was probably going to be something where you have to like
No,
change
that
the
has to
disc
be it.
out or reset the game.
Okay, reset the game.
Yeah, you see, like there's got to be something like
Yeah,
that.
it was
So I
reset
do
the
remember
game.
that there was a game that was like that. We had to reset it. What was it?
not alternate.
Because it dealt with something in
Was it
the
Altered Beast?
title screen. It
No,
dealt
it
with
was a
some,
boss fight, and it would be like to defeat me, you have to reset
me
etc.,
or
blah, blah,
something,
blah,
yeah, and then it goes
the
to the
game
same-
was X-Men.
there you go.
sick?
And this is on the Sega
I have a
Genesis,
copy.
and there's a stage fight, etc., where there's
I
like
remember
you
something.
have to
like that.
actually and you have to actually depress the reset
reset.
button on the Sega Genesis, the white reset button on the Sega Genesis, in order to make the boss not vulnerable anymore because it's invulnerable. And
It
there's
was
like
probably arcade, if
there's
I'm not
two
mistaken.
versions.
The
There's two
villain.
versions of X-Men's. There's like two X-Men games or whatever, 3 X-Men games that came out in the Genesis or whatnot. But this was a really problematic because this is before the internet and before really game magazines and stuff. I mean, there was a
Yeah, it's
there was
hard
a
to get that
hotline.
kind of information out because it's like it was
And
it was
people
almost
were big-
equivalent to the Merrill code.
And
I don't know if you remember the Merrill code
Oh,
of the
yeah.
Metal Gear Solid.
Mm.
The Merrill code was you buy the game, you have the box, you go play the game, you get to Merrill, and they're like, oh, just text your comms, and you're like, well, where is it? And it's on the back of the box, and then you go and you put the cardboard box on you in game because you
Right.
think it's on it. So you're trying to get up against walls and up against like gifts to make the camera give you a really shitty
It's
screenshot.
been a long time
of the
since
game.
we had like a.
But
it was actually behind
But
the
it was
physical
actually
box
on the
in the
physical
Yeah.
the disc box.
old DOS games.
I love that
the-
shit.
Their versions of like copyright protection would be like would be things that were in the manual. They would have
Yeah.
keys and codes.
They would have keys and codes in the
maps
manual and stuff.
and stuff like that. And the man, that was the old version of copy protection
Yeah.
because they didn't have DRM, so they would bake things in where you needed the physical.
I think
manual.
Konami had that going on a while before with the extra Metal Gears, like in Nintendo.
Mhm.
With the earlier, I think
But
they had it to where the
X-Men game,
codex and stuff ran
to my limited video game knowledge, is the first time you had to interact with
the console itself.
in order to affect the game.
Yeah.
And like
fun.
and it was and it was so shocking because like that would be so dangerous, right? Like if it was a quick depress, which the game code would catch and it wouldn't recycle the game.
The whole computer, yeah, I wouldn't
like,
recycle your whole
the
game out.
console. And but like were you to really hold it down, you would
You would just reset the whole
and
game.
stuff like that, and which would be counterintuitive, and nobody would think like why would you put that at a risk or whatever. So that was a fun bit of stuff.
I'm super impressed by like the 4D chess veneration of games like that.
Mhm.
Like the Merrill,
Playing that.
the Merrill Codex and the Mantis fight and Konami. The hey man, are you okay? You got to rub the button real fast in Metal Gear because you're gonna get electrocuted. Here, get the control and put it on your forearm. And you put it on your forearm and it starts to vibrate as if it's a massager or something. And you're almost interacting with your game console thinking it has some kind of AI.
It's wild.
And I thought that was
they're
like
doing that
super 4D
better
chess, dude. Like
in
I was
the
like, fuck.
pre-millennial than they are today, and we have
Oh, yeah.
headsets
Oh,
and,
dude, no
like,
one will ever experience that nowadays. Nobody will ever experience that surprise. And I tell people all the time, I've talked about it
or
like
the
maybe
concept
20 times on the
of
podcast.
hitting a video game wall in talent or technique and not being able and like not being able to just watch a guide or like hit a walkthrough or search up a text stream of information. There's a specific, I mean, there's a the fucking what you call it, the acid that the cortisol response that would work up into your body and shit
X-Mouse?
like that. So so when you couldn't figure out how the hell do I get past this
Mhm.
you know, how do I get, and I mean that's where like the Nintendo call, the helpline, right, the you know, blessed be the passing of the Nintendo helpline, but you know, like all the game tip lines and stuff like that. But I mean, at a certain point you just had to go to bed frustrated.
But you know what? Like, I kind of feel like
that was-
you guys can ask, you guys can take it like that. I guess you could say it as the way I'm going to explain it. But I feel like the internet and how fast streaming and YouTube and all that stuff has ruined the entertainment of the problem solving in video games. Because right now it's if you want to play Warzone or you know what, we can go into what's the game that they're making the movie out of? We talk about it every now and then. What's the one with Claptrap? I can't even think about it.
Borderlands.
Yeah, Borderlands, right? You think Borderlands. And like when the last game came out, everyone was online trying to figure out how to break the game with all the combo sets, with the energy or your shield to a weapon generated to multiplier to be able to kill bosses in 12 shots or 3 shots or 2 shots or whatever. Where back in the day when we played Borderlands, the part 3 or part 2, it was the idea of you had to know people to get the black weapons that are like the kind of like
WoW worked for as long as it did, or has worked for as long as it did, because like the concept of like refreshing content and developers like being able to like we you know, killing something pre-patch, post-patch, etc. But like, you know, rolling out new dungeon content, subscription based, you know, and it sucks to play subscription to play a game, right? We all know that to an extent. But the concept of having developers constantly like changing the rules of the game, the dynamics of the game,
they have to keep up. They have to keep up.
And that really being the only place where puzzles are left. Yeah. Like I can remember the last time being puzzly challenged in a game was Naxxramas. Because honestly, because honestly, by the time I joined a good guild where I actually started doing like fresh content was in Anchorage, and they had that almost on fire. Like we were working on Cthulhu, right? Yeah. So I joined the guild. Everything was on farm status except for Cthulhu. I was there on the server first kill for Cthulhu. But then really the first time, and it had been, to your point, it had been a long time since I'd been puzzled by a game. I'd been challenged, couldn't look something up immediately. And with fresh content like that, it was like, there was no guide. There was forums and people were sharing, we did this tonight and this kind of worked. And so MMORPGs may have a bit of that left to an extent. And even then it's information is still like, that necessitated or built networks of sharing information and DPS logs and charts and even the loot systems and everything else that go with it, that it's like now you have progressionists that'll just beat that content in one night and live stream it, and literally people will be like falling behind minutes later after watching the first group having done the live stream of it.
Yeah.
You know, and
did you ever snag a Zenrot?
Which one?
A Zenrot?
No, I was a druid. I never got any like melee weapons, etc.
Did you guys ever get the opportunity to play
great
the Counter-Strike?
A lot of people who had one.
Not Counter-Strike, Call of Duty Black Ops series. The Black Ops series.
Yeah.
So they had Black Ops 2. Well, Black Ops even going back to Black Ops 1 and Black Ops.
But Black Ops 2, I think, is when it really like set on the map.
Oh,
I remember playing gun game a lot.
Yeah.
Of course, that zombies was like the most.
Okay, so that's what I was gonna ask. Like, okay, so I mean, it sounds like you played a lot about it. Yeah, dude. Like, I'm a big Triggs will tell you, I'm a huge Treyarch Zombies fan because the timeline is so convoluted. I love it. It's like if you watch Ant-Man,
everything that he's about.
If you watch Ant-Man, the little girl gets the president. She's like, it's so ugly. I love it. It's the same thing with this Treyarch. Treyarch Zombies, the storyline deals with a lot of time travel that they run into themselves, and then there's another part they don't run into, and everything's connected. They're very, very articulate on how the story works together. But if it wasn't for the internet and the streamers that made that game prominent Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 1 would have been the hardest zombie games because everybody played it to survival, not to know that there was Easter eggs. You know what I mean? Like, so nobody knew how to solve the Easter eggs. So like when you solve the Easter egg, the map would either end or it would continue on, but you would have like a badass like attachment to your guns
Like
some kind of like advantage over everything. But there was a story. It evolved. There was it started to give you a video at the ending of the zombies game to let you know that the thing that you thought was happening is actually happening. But it was very crazy because during the Black Ops 2 storyline is when I think it was the masterpiece of Treyarch making the zombies game. Because I don't know if you ever played it, but everything looked like it had a purpose. Like, especially when it came to the game called Origins. That was the one with the big robots.
Oh, okay.
That was the one that had like all the Nazi
Not the
like
mini game where you would go and
Oh no, that's
coin ops.
Coin Ops. That's Coin Ops. That was a good one too. That one has a story also, which is super crazy. But Origins was always a very interesting story because it felt very disconnected or renewed compared to the other zombie stories. But if it wasn't for the people in the community online that were solving it and coming together in the forums, nobody would have ever solved the Easter eggs, or at least giving you some type of like path to follow to solve them.
Because they put them there and everybody was like missing the point.
Missing
I love
parts.
the
Yeah.
bell curve of it. I love developers having pushed the envelopes of like single player games
Like
to a component that necessitated external
Social.
tools. Right, so you play a single player game and that was it, and then it pushed it to a level where you needed walkthroughs and then guides and then tip lines and hotlines and then forums and then voice servers and then and now like in-depth analysis of like the DBR like and it's always, and it's the human condition is to push and push and push.
Yes.
You look at like Olympic results in pre-Pantheon era, etc., versus like Usain Bolt's records today.
Yeah, now
His record just got broken again by a woman who Nike had dropped when she became pregnant, and she came back like 10 months later and then killed Bolt's record. Anyways,
pussy boy.
but the human condition is to. I mean, but if you look at the
excel.
differences between between the Greek era and the eras today, it's wild. It's like 10 to 11 seconds to run the whatever length of space and stuff versus one. And it's what.
But you know what? As speaking of the Treyarch zombies and of course the battlefield, there was a moment that they killed the situation.
Mm-hmm.
They killed that whole entire vibe. One was then it became a race to who would solve the Easter egg first. So then it became where people weren't playing the game; they were only watching the streamers play, because the streamers were the ones that had the education to be able to. You know what I mean?
It had that effect.
So now
and stuff like that. And like
now
you don't want to be on.
You don't want to be on the server. You want to let them solve it, and then you'll go and get all the award after.
You don't want to be on a server with a streamer, because then all the fanboys of that streamer are on there, and then they're
for me,
etc.
For me, I kind of did a little bit of the fanboy thing, but at the same time, I also did a slight troll. I have a friend who I say beat World of Warcraft all the time, because at the time when him and I were playing,
World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
is that even a thing?
No, it's not. Yeah, you can, but you can't. Like, and what I mean by that is,
it's like getting to the end of the internet. Right?
Yeah,
like you could just see something so incredibly stupid, and then you can kind of like
you're like, I'm done. Yeah,
I'll never find something stupider.
Yeah,
than what this person.
So when him
said.
and I were playing, he was this is like in the height of the Swifty era. And Swifty being, the most prolific, warrior in the game at the time, then came Bajira. And one time, me and Ash and another friend of mine were streaming, and I found out when Swifty got on, because I followed Swifty, and I was like, yo, Swifty's on. And he was like, bet, dude, I'm on it. So he goes and he finds Swifty and he duels him, and he fucking wrecks Swifty.
Wow.
The best warrior in the game. He fucking demolishes Swifty. And he does it not just once, but 3 times. And he puts his shit away and he's like, I'm done. I beat the game. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. And so after that, he was like, dude, I could do whatever the fuck I want now. I beat Swifty in a duel.
Josh is a hype man in extent. We recently sat down. I have a tavern, and in this tavern, I have a few PCs set up. and it's kind of been the test labs for the technical
Lab,
network that we're gonna to get out. I'm renting computers as a part of the component, and so I've got to have somewhere to keep them, and so I've got a little test ranch house, and we've got a small network. We got about 10 boxes up right now, putting more in every day and stuff like that. And so the first time I had Josh over, really this is even before we'd announced the event. This is still during the pandemic. I didn't have a date because I didn't know when vaccination levels were going to get to X. And so I had Josh over for the first time, and me and Josh have played arcade games against each other for a long time. Josh is a little bit better than I am, especially before he started practicing. Josh is in kind of like
when I got into the arcade, when Michael got me into the arcades, I started working with Ham, and Ham got me to play fighting games more competitively.
So he's
for
teaching
the
you some of
past
the
like
tricks and
4
stuff.
years, and especially the past year, my skills have gotten like ridiculous.
For like the last 2
Like, I
years,
can keep up.
Our level was relatively the same.
Yeah, he would it was
I
just
take
like
sets off
a
you,
toss
you
of a
take sets
coin
off
who
me,
would
yeah.
win somebody in Street Fighter. Now it's like,
and now he's gotten serious, and he won't let me forget it either. So that's fine. Fuck you.
Don't ever forget it.
Nobody forgets.
Don't you
and that's
ever
fine.
forget it.
So he comes over and we boot up some games, and like we pop into Quake.
oh
3 and stuff like that.
wait. But before you say this, because me and Ham have a joke that like Mike's a big collector, but we go, but what does Mike play? Because we never see Mike play
Like, I'm,
anything.
like, always
Like you play him like
behind
real
him.
quick and stuff, but he's got more projects than he is playing games. So
That
it's
is
like,
true. I do.
so we'll
tinker
be
more
like,
than I like.
yeah, but Michael doesn't play anything. So that's our joke, right?
Yeah.
So knowing that that's our joke.
So we boot up Quake 3, and it was 7 or 8 people. I destroy everybody, in the Quake 3 match. And they're like, Josh, who said Mike could be good at like first person?
Yeah.
He's like, wait a second, Mike is good at games.
I was like, who told Michael he can put at first person shooters?
And so the same as Ham grew up on arcades. At that same time, I was putting the same amount of time and effort. I was playing 13, 14 hours a day of Counter-Strike or
Of course.
or of Quake or Unreal Tournament.
And that's a whole other
Back
skill.
up,
A lot of
like
people
that,
don't
yeah.
understand that if you're good at Counter-Strike, there's no other first-person shooter game you're not going to be good at. Like, that's the game right there. It literally taught everyone else how to play first-person shooter.
And how to play teamwork.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have to be straight
Josh
up.
is good at Unreal Tournament, and which we call Josh is getting some decent and now we've played a couple times. Josh is getting a little bit better. He's getting better numbers. in,
For me, it's
deathmatch
like
stuff
the
or whatever.
speeds of the game. So like Quake 3 is obviously too
Fast as
fast.
fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Counter-Strike
Unreal's
is
fast,
too team
too.
and too slow. And Unreal was the only game for me that
a
was
nice
like
little blend.
the medium.
Well, you know
space,
what?
So I
You-
was able to just like stay on top of everybody.
My thing had always been with Counter-Strike was that what made it impressive to me was the realism of it being a medium-sized first-person shooter style mapping game where the bullets have a different trajectory, where every gun has a different trajectory. Where you look at Unreal, you look at Quake, they don't have trajectory bullets; they just travel a
Yeah.
straight line.
With
And
the
it's
recoil
just-
component. When Aldo started teaching me to play, etc.
Oh, and I'm there playing Counter-Strike going.
And
You have to fire in 3-round batches.
Yeah. It teaches you to be patient. It teaches you to understand that you don't fire full auto. It teaches you a lot of shit, man.
First,
Yeah, like it to me, it was the first time that I was introduced to a video game where you had to take the gaming part serious, like
You
the
think
actual shooting part.
you had to think about an economy
Mhm.
as you were playing, because one of the components of Counter-Strike is the amount of there's buy rounds and there's buy rounds and there's dry rounds. So when you're competitively playing, everybody starts the same amount of
Dry.
money based on whether you've won the last round or lost the last round or where your overall economy is. You can end up into late areas of the game where you've run out of money and you have
Yeah.
to make a decision of like, do I buy armor? Do I buy an
Yeah.
SMG? Do I buy a
Shittier
rifle?
weapons.
You know, like there's other higher level strategies that go of like, okay, cool. If the best player on the team doesn't have a weapon, the shittiest player on the team, this is the easy way to say it, will buy, and if they have money, they'll buy that
you a weapon. Yeah.
to the better player of the team, and it's yep. And so there's a designated buyer if you get into those late, and there's a lot more strategy that comes into Counter-Strike.
So do you feel like with the nowadays games like Call of Duty, Cold War, and Warzone?
Man, I really stopped after
No.
Overwatch. Man.
Anybody here? Anybody
Yeah,
here?
I did.
How's
I
it?
actually like Modern Warfare 3. No, Modern Warfare 2 was the first one I prestiged online.
Nice.
So I went through all the levels
So-
and finished the rankings.
The thing is like, can you compare the strategy-based work that you have to do in Counter-Strike to a game like Warzone?
Yeah,
when I play
I would
Overwatch,
say
it's a lot
it works because I came from
Well,
Modern
Overwatch is
Warfare
very based on
to
Warzone.
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike. very
But
based on
it's
Counter-Strike.
like if you take your skills that you learned in one point in Counter-Strike and take them to Warfare, you definitely have the upper advantage. Whereas Warfare has a lot of leniency where like if you just want to come in and like, you know, Leroy Jenkins it
Yeah.
up, you kind of can. And Counter-Strike, you cannot Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, you can't.
You will die.
Overwatch, when I sat down to play Overwatch, having had a hiatus from from competitive play, and when I mean like 12 hours a day of you know, FPS gaming and stuff like that. So, and I came in and I started putting in some hours in Overwatch, and it was a very natural.
It felt good.
Up and
It feels like 1.6.
Yeah.
It really does. Like it almost feels like an overskin. Of course, like the sci-fi and the extra movements and stuff. That's the part that it changes, but the speed of it, the size of the medium size of the rooms you're in feels very Team Fortress, very Counter-Strike 1.6, like a lot of that old school like first-person shooting vibe.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what I liked about Overwatch.
I
Like,
love the
only
concept of
thing-
healing. I mean, honestly, the
Healing, yeah.
implementing healing because I usually main some form of support or heal class, etc. And it's like all of my time, I spent almost all of my career at WoW as a healer, which is relatively rare. Everyone really wants to be like stabby, or like bolt. But I always love the concept of healing or playing a support class or a buff class. So yeah,
Power bottom.
That's power bottom. But
Don't you
heal
fucking
to
forget.
and so or whatever. But it was always super fun. So like I found a lot of success early on in Overwatch by like playing Lucio Mercy, etc. like that. So one of my complaints on Josh is like this. So he's put some hype into my head, and he's like, oh, okay, Mike's the best Counter-Strike player in the room, blah blah blah, and we're gonna get to competition day, blah blah blah. I was like, it's a team game, Josh. I can only do so much.
And then
so
we
much
had
by
a
yourself,
We had a
yeah.
friend come over who was giving him some comp, and like Ham loves to remind him like, Cody's going, bro. Cody's going.
Like to rub it in.
He
Like to
gave
rub it in
Pump
and shit.
like an open team match games, and then handed him his ass in Counter-Strike
Yeah.
or whatever. So
Yeah,
like,
because he ran the team our side, and he just told us what to do. We just did what Michael said, and
It
of
works
course
so well,
was.
dude, when you have a good leader, dude. Counter-Strike
that's
works
how-
super
yeah,
fucking
that's
well.
Counter-Strike
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Who's down double doors? No,
Yeah.
this way.
I won't even call like it's called stratting or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, on the team that I'm putting together, Aldo will probably do our stratting and shit like that. I'm B team member, etc. Whatever.
What did you play?
Yeah, LP, what'd you play a lot of down when you were younger, man?
As far as retro games,
Well, like when you
in-
were playing
at Ninja Lan.
At Ninja Lan, like what were you playing?
Battlefield, what was it 1940?
Battlefield
Oh,
1942.
1942. Nice, dude. Right next to Battlefield Vietnam. Yeah.
So big.
That's good shit.
That
Right.
day, and I was making everybody mad.
Man, I'm such a huge fan of the Battlefield games. I mean, not Battlefield, of course, 1 and 5 that just came out, right? Which was the Battlefield World War I, which was the newer console one that just came out. And then, of course, the follow-up after that. For some reason, they didn't do those very well. But what I liked about Part 5 was they revisited the maps from 1942 and Vietnam. The Battlefield Vietnam game. I don't even remember Vietnam. That was I remember Vietnam. Make it sound like we're fucking all vets and shit. Yeah, Road to Vietnam. Yeah, that game was the
I
predecessor
installed
to 1942.
I installed it on every box.
like in the Vietnam era.
Yeah. A lot of games at that time were coming out with the Vietnam kind of vibe.
So every box that I'm setting up for this event, I have to install the same games on it.
And you can see it all over the place.
1945, Road to Vietnam.
Yeah.
There's like 2 other ones, the Pacific Coast expansion. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
and there's going to be for Battlefield, it's Battlefield 2042, actually.
Yeah.
They have that one also, but it's the older game that came after Vietnam. And it's very like, and I tell people, it's very much like Tribes. Like the game Tribes, where like they land you into a city, you defend it, you push.
When I first saw
and you gotta take
Fortnite
a-
and shit, I was like, these bitches played a lot of Tribes.
Tribes.
Like, they played a lot of Tribes.
Yeah.
Like that. LP actually played a lot of console games. He played a lot
Nice.
of Mega Man and a lot of Mortal Kombat. So
Nice.
Oh yeah, which Mortal Kombat?
All of them.
Deadly Alliance.
Everything.
Three, I didn't like. I didn't like the one.
Really? So I'm like, till this day, still playing competitively with these guys. Like we got together 2 days ago, and we're going hard for Ninja Lan especially. But Ham got a cab last. I had one from him for a bit, and I've always revisited MK3. But for the past year, we've been like going extra hard. We have like our best who's
Who's your
taught all of
character?
us. I'm a Nightwolf player,
A Nightwolf?
and he's hard. He's not an easy character because like any other character, you don't need a special to do a combo. Nightwolf, you have to do a special in
The
the middle
uppercut?
of the combo.
Yeah, the
And
uppercut.
in fact, I do it like I open you up. I do 2 axes. I
Oh,
do a
you
low
open
punch.
me up.
I forward. I'll punch you, and then I'll do a shoulder, and it's like 50% damage.
Not even the reach around, man. Not even
So
no reach
that'll
around.
give the Mortal Kombat 3 for the combo system.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. Is the first time they introduced that. I mean, that's where I learned how to combo was through there. Then Killer Instinct, and then now I understand how like Street Fighter combos work, which are not the same. They're more real time. But I learned my first combos on MK3.
Nice.
Yeah.
Such a
Killer
good game.
Instinct 2 is
You gotta,
my
you gotta
game.
make a montage video. You gotta put your headband on, like when you're training and practicing and stuff like that. So the guys, they're putting in sets at Hams over at Games. and
Yeah,
Jams.
we have been.
They're I mean, they're running.
Tekken came up
Yes
to us.
mode and shit.
Some of them come from Brownsville. They are making Ham do weeklies on Saturdays, and he doesn't even know some of these people, so they're like paying him venue fee
They're like, they want
to
that
come
Whataburger
play.
money.
At his house.
They're like, we
to
want that
come play.
Whataburger money.
Yeah, so
That's
they're
badass.
getting together,
Lap dance
and then
Whataburger.
his
What do
fleet
you
of
think the
MVC2 players.
Tekken pot will get up to, considering how many people have come? to
Dude,
so
I don't.
far?
I don't know. Right now, it's set at $40 is
Right.
what I've allocated for
How
it.
many entries?
But they already told me they're like, you better make it grow. I'm like,
Well, that's not
We'll
up
get a lot
to
of people
that's
to enter
not
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's not up to you guys. It's
no,
just
it's,
they
of
get signed up.
course. No, exactly. That's
it's
that's just like we
Sign up.
started this at 40.
Go
you keep
to
coming, it's gonna keep
landradge.org.
going.
Get
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
go to ninjaland.com.
So if you guys haven't seen all the fighting games have pots that we've already funded, we've gotten funds for, and every time somebody signs up for a tournament, their money goes straight into that pot. So these pots are growing pots. $40 is
That's
not
the
what it's
start.
gonna.
That's
That's
the
a
minimum.
start.
Yeah.
You get 4 people in there, you're already at an extra $20 depending on the game, or you know what I mean. But these are growing pots, so it's gonna be really epic. Hopefully,
What are
the
you
more
doing?
the
You're doing
merrier.
cash prize for first, second, and third?
For side bets, it's only one person takes it all.
Yeah.
So that like Tekken is a side bet right now.
Right.
People want us to push it to a bigger bet, which
Yeah,
would
but you
mean-
need people. You need people.
yeah. But the thing is they are people.
Which take
They're not like
No, no,
5
no.
people. They're
Which
like
Tekken
they're
bet?
like 15 people
Tekken
that came to come
2?
play
Which one?
dark 5 dark
Five.
dark
Oh,
Oh,
Resurrection.
Tekken 5. Like
Tekken
so.
5.
Okay.
That's the one that we're running tournament.
Is it what do you call it? Retro Police? Is that pre 2004?
No, it is. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about talking about the Tekken Tag, like Dark Resurrection era. Not
yeah.
not the new Tekken 5. Not
Yeah,
not
no,
like
no,
not
no.
yeah. You that's what you're thinking, right? You're thinking.
no,
no, but it's just that the game really hasn't changed.
Oh, 06
The-
game.
We're Tekken 7.
But what's crazy is like
Yeah.
the game really hasn't changed gameplay wise. It just changed with characters and graphics and stuff.
I just remember like when I the obscure rule of like where I was going to cut the line or like they call it retro and stuff like that. And it was like there's so few games that actually have the year in the name, right?
Mhm.
Unreal Tournament 2004 has the year, and I was
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, I know that I want at least some UT 2004 going down. So I was like, I'm going to set that as like
Yeah, we're, like,
2004
Comfortably, I
and
want to
then,
say
yeah.
Dark Rain was roughly around like the PlayStation 2 era.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
It was-
yeah.
but-
Because
but that'll give us
we
the
actually
years.
stop at like Soul Calibur 2.
Yeah.
And,
be around the same time.
and this one. So it's around the same time, the PS2 era. Because you think of like, games 20 years ago, and you picture like Super Mario Bros. But
Yeah.
games
Oh,
20 years
20 years
ago
ago, Soul Calibur.
was PS2 Soul
Yeah,
Calibur.
yeah.
You know what I
It was
mean?
fucking Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom
Yeah,
Hearts.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts
The
1. Yeah.
20th year anniversary of Throwing a Ball. I posted by the other day. I mean, it was the last week was the 20th year anniversary of Throwing a Ball, Baldur's Gate 2. I mean, that's a 20-year-old game, and that was the expansion.
Yeah.
25. Shadows Am is 25 years old.
Hey, and LP, I wanted to ask you real quick. You're wearing an airsoft shirt. Did you used to play airsoft or what? Are you-
his ass.
Oh, really? So you guys were in that was Trigger. Trigger used to play a lot of airsoft.
Yeah, that's how me and Mike know each other through a mutual acquaintance.
Cool, man. Cool.
Guns that look like real guns. And
Yeah, it's super crazy, man.
He's into real steel firearms predominantly, but
I build actually.
I've dragged LP around. So my best friend LP lives in Houston. And whenever I'm in Houston, I crash. He's a big boy. He's a big adult, so he's got a guest room. So I crash.
Nice.
Hey, that's some.
I know.
I
Big
have
friends,
one
right?
too. That is when you're an adult,
You-
though.
when you're an adult, when
It's
you got
true.
a guest room
fucking
and
couch.
that's not being used or occupied for some purpose. It really is for guests.
Yeah, straight up
Like, yeah,
guest.
that's
Yeah.
That's a guest room.
Dude, I've lived on this couch for 2 years.
Yeah, he did. He lived on my couch for
I
2
was
years.
going to college.
And the funny thing about that is he lived like 6 minutes around the corner, like
Nice.
literally,
Not
like not even. I mean, he could have walked to his house if he took an angled approach.
Yeah, but Michael had the
It's a-
games.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, but it was we played a lot of games there. So I'm a big airsoft player, and so I keep dragging him into it whenever there's a really nice indoor field in Houston called E-Bike High Ground Airsoft,
Nice.
and it's an indoor field, which is nice because
E-Bike has a place in Houston now.
they're called E-Bike Outposts. So I mean, E-Bike is a big airsoft
Yeah.
company. They got a real nice place in Alhambra, California, which is just outside of LA.
You know, I was staying there 2 months ago in Alhambra. Yeah, I
Yeah,
stayed
yeah,
there
it's a nice
for a
place
week.
town,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It is nice. A lot of like celebrities live there and shit like that.
But E-Bike's
They
a
don't
huge
play airsoft
retailer,
though.
And what they do is they find a couple of successful airshop places around, and they're creating e-bike outposts. So
Okay.
they'll start managing their inventory and handling it, and like having them as kind of like a satellite site. So like it's high ground airsoft, but they're an e-bike outpost, and so it's very much e-bike. And so they're
So it's
pro
like
shop
licensed sort of.
yeah. It's pro shop is
So the
fantastic.
reason I ask is because like e-bike was like my store. I wasn't a really big fan of airsoft
It's a
GI.
good store.
Yeah, oh yeah, no. I mean everything that I mean 95% of the shit that I've ever bought airsoft related has been through e-bike.
Yeah.
You know, every once in a while, if I really needed something very specific, I went to Red Wolf. You know,
Mm.
but you know, that's
I
Red-
bought from all sorts, including custom Swedish manufacturer. I bought.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
VXFR.
my first. I know for a fucking fact when the Masadas were released in in 2000
That's a
and
name. That's an old name.
yeah,
That's a
2008.
quality name.
In 2008, I was one of the first in Texas to have one, and I'd got mine through like Airsoft, like Nashville. They had
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
one left, and I was like, "That is mine."
That's like
That is mine.
That's a little Excalibur type of thing. So they have a great indoor. They have a great pro shop. They've got an indoor field. We went there for my bachelor party. It was super funny. It was super fun because I had a group of some of my closest guys, and we played a ton of airsoft together, shot each other up, etc. They put bounties on me, like they were like $20 for. They was like every time someone shoots Mike, we'll pay out $20,
Damn.
and only $40 got. I mean, we played for hours, and only $40 was spent out. I specifically went on the other side from all of my friends, and I just like destroyed them all,
Nice.
etc.
I did get 2 of those 4.
Nice, very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very interesting. Airsoft's been pretty prominent. Actually, in the last couple of years, I've been seeing it kind of picking up a little
Growing
bit
the
more.
Valley recently too.
Yeah.
It's had a real big pandemic boom.
There are these guys. You ever see those like the reacting videos, like guys reacting to this or guys reacting to that? I follow these dudes that it's these 2 ex-military guys that they react to either video games, how they portray army and the military and the video games and all that stuff, and it's just them just banter, right?
Fatality did a video like that, like in a video of like it was special forces versus gamers.
Yeah, something like that.
In real steel training, and then like in real steel simulation, and in video games,
But-
etc. Yeah.
The reason why I say it is because I was super blown away by it. I mean, of course, because you're wearing the shirt and that's really cool. And I know Trig's a big fan. But these dudes were watching a video and they I guess some of their fans had sent them videos because these 2 gentlemen want to get involved in selling and producing more airsoft equipment, a little bit more military bases, starting ops or whatever that they want to do. And I was tripping out because there's airsoft places that have fucking helicopters in like Sweden.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've done
there
it.
was doing fucking
In,
shooting guys
in
with BB guns outside of a
878
helicopter,
Airsoft,
dude.
Which is out of.
I was like, what? The
out
military guys were like, what the fuck? They got choppers, dude.
I went to.
They
I went-
thought
I
it
went
was
to-
literally just a BB game.
No,
dude.
I
guys
went.
money.
I went to an op in.
That was
Temple.
wild.
It was.
That was literally wild.
Fuck, man. It was run by the Third Coast guys.
We're talking about. I mean, airsoft has evolved to night vision.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, night vision.
I mean, dude, night vision is one thing compared to a fucking helicopter.
Bro,
though,
that's
dude. You know what I mean? dude?
$1,000
Yeah.
for
I
a
was
fucking
gonna-
piece of
and
glass.
for
Yeah.
PVS 14s, which are crappy ones. You're talking about like there's $9,000, $10,000 headgear night.
Oh
night
yeah,
you're
don't
set
get
up
me
for-
wrong. I get the
but-
cool trip of it.
But we're talking.
But we're talking about the idea of having a chopper.
878 Airsoft has a
Fucking-
Scorpion,
Yeah.
2 Humvees, with vehicle mounted Gatling gun.
Oh,
Right.
get
We're-
out of
we're-
here.
we're
Yo,
dude.
I think I
working
still
with-
have my old
We're
military.
working with gas propelled RPGs.
That's
right?
wild, dude.
My old military driver's license,
Helos,
and I'm licensed
right?
to drive
Nuts,
those.
dude.
det cord, black powder grenades, and det cord, and so there's ops, which are the bigger events, kind of
Yeah, of course.
That.
There's like in
So-
acres, right? Like they'll have them like in big open
They-
fields.
they'll-
Like,
so some of the places they do at Fort Hood. They
Yeah.
do on like specialized
So-
parts of like Fort Hood.
wow, dude,
Yeah,
that's really cool.
So they're called MOASs, or they're like combat sites or whatever.
Moas.
So you literally walk. So when we walk onto the field, there's this big thing of like warning explosives. If you walk onto this field, like you forfeit all all intent to live.
Disregard it.
Airsoft
Disregard
landmine,
it.
dude. You'll lose a leg and
We
shit.
play
Goddamn, dude.
like literally. I've been lying in ruts and shit like that with like exploded ordnance and shit like that or whatever. So and they run night. This is at Fort Hood. Run by a company called Third Coast Airsoft, and
I remember
do
when they were
Operation
just
Bulldog
first starting out.
and Operation Starburst, which are often in Fort Hood, which is just outside of
Killeen.
Killeen. Yeah. So they
That's
do
wild,
something
dude.
called night ops.
Fucking
So
pissed bad.
the normal day is scored play, and the night is a simulated
Yeah, we're
event.
on-
So they'll take a movie like
Black Hawk Down and
Black
shit
Hawk
like that.
Down, Operation Baghdad.
Yeah, and
something
they'll
like
give
that.
you guys that
And they
op,
kinda
right?
Script you that it's like a scripted experience, kind of more
It's
like
Arma 3 in real life.
yeah, more like a zombie hay bale kind of experience thing. But in those,
Did you ever go to an
concepts-
Operation Scourge?
No, I didn't do Scourge.
So Operation Scourge, the very, very first one was held here in
Mhm.
Edinburg at the Freeze. It's the old Edinburg Ice House.
Okay.
Off of Monte Cristo.
Yeah.
So I remember being there. As a matter of fact, if I look hard enough, I can still find video of it. It was a huge like zombie thing. It was super, super fun. And that's when we had one of
Did you know who planned it and was involved in it or no?
Third
Oh
Coast.
yeah.
Voldemort.
No, I was talking about Voldemort.
They're doing Voldemort. Yeah, Voldemort.
Yeah.
The name
Well,
is
it
United-
wasn't just him.
It
It wasn't just him. He
for the month.
blown
So I had
shit
to
out
watch
because
all
we also
7
had a
last couple weeks.
a really, really
I mean, I
at the
love it.
time
Yeah,
we had
my
a
chick
really,
is
really
like
good
That's why she's
rapport
listening
with
to
Green Beret. So they
Oh,
were
okay.
more than
They
happy
were-
to lend us their Gatling gun and shit like that. But no, Third Coast was also like the prevalent sponsor for that. You know, they brought down all their guys, and this is like, I'm not kidding. They're like first year of really being around.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, Z Monster when he was, I think he was still just a captain at the time. This fucker's a lieutenant colonel now.
Oh, Lieutenant Colonel. Yeah.
This is a big step. I mean, I remember, Z Monster, baby
I'm
Z
just
Monster.
trying to
Yeah,
remember.
I mean,
That's
so I've, as far as like airsoft goes, like especially when I hear it, it takes me back to like the 08, 09 days and stuff like that when it was first just starting out here in South Texas, and it was a big push to call it STAC, STAC, the South Texas Airsoft Coalition. And, once I left in 2010, that was kind of like when things started like
There was a
picking
big
up.
slowdown.
Yeah,
Slowing down.
There was
yeah,
a
it
big
started slowing down. And,
there's been a pickup,
yeah. And
so-
I want to say 2015, 2014.
change.
Yeah.
We had places like Delta and stuff come
Yeah.
up, which
Yeah.
is funny. I
One
just
field
had a
recently
friend
burned
invite me to
Woodlands.
Delta
Yeah, one
tomorrow.
in Woodlands and
Really?
Harlingen.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Yeah,
look
Woodlands.
at
Too
some.
old,
One
man.
field recently burned down. Somebody popped
Hopefully,
a
I'm not
smoke
too
grenade
bad.
and
Oh, yeah, wasn't it in-
in brush. et
Yeah,
cetera. Yeah,
the Edinburg
and
one or what?
yeah,
The one that's out on 107?
Mhm, yeah,
Yeah.
that one got burned down by a simulated smoke grenade. Not a simulated, it's a smoke grenade. And but
Good job, dude.
good job.
Yeah.
I've seen those fires happen
But-
more than once.
But det cord is used in the night ops in Fort Hood, etc. like that. And I mean like real det cord and helo drops in from on a helo drops. You've got certain teams. That
Imagine
run
like a
helo-
13-year-old flying the helicopter, dude, all decked out in fucking military gear. Don't worry, I got you guys.
Well,
I'd be like, fuck this place.
and that's a super funny thing.
I feel like that on Call of Duty.
Yeah, fucked up.
That's how
Like, I
that
kind of feel
meme where it's like
sometimes.
when some kid is like not fucking you up on Call of Duty and you just want to get one win after
Yeah.
having a long day at work.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah,
meme, dude.
just lighting your
It's like,
shit up.
fuck you.
Oh no! Yeah.
10-year-old ranked 2 in the world in Call of Duty, you getting out of an 8-hour shift.
Yeah.
You just want to play one game, dude.
You just want to get one win in.
No, I remember there were like, for he will not be named.
Voldemort.
Yeah, Voldemort. I think one of my favorite ops happened to be Operation Dingo or some shit like that. And It happened to be in
The
Temple.
dingo ain't your
Yeah, it happened to be. Yeah, and it was same shit. The fucking site owner was like, no one can use fire, no explosives, no.
I don't even know why they have to tell you
And
guys
so
that. It's a
the
BB
funny
gun game.
Thing is, his fucking field is nothing but monte, dude. Nothing but dry grass.
yeah.
And to fucking signal the start and stop of games
With a
he
flare.
used a fucking magnesium flare.
Oh yeah,
And
flare.
so it shot up and it came down and it burnt half of his fucking site. And we were like, you're a fucking moron.
Yeah.
And so, like, after we
After the flames
successfully,
succeeded, right?
you know, like calming down
It
this
turns
fire.
into like military simulation to like fire simulation.
Yeah, and I'm
right?
like, cool, dude.
Like everyone
So-
goes gets their costume out of the car.
Yeah.
I get-
Yeah, I can look like a firefighter
Hey,
too.
me and this guy, we go into a fucking town, and this is one of the only games where I was able to play in fucking blue jeans, and I was so hyped for this, so hyped because I'm always wearing, you know,
Contractor
like
set or whatever,
I'm
yeah.
always wearing
It's
garb.
cosplay. I mean, it's you gotta
Yeah.
wear the uniform.
Yeah.
So,
you gotta
like
be-
at the
be on
time,
right
I'm
side
wearing
shit.
like all my nice Condor gear, and now I actually have military $400, you know, kit like sitting in my closet. And at the time, you know, like I said, I had my Condor stuff, and him and I, we fucking wreck this town. And
You shot everybody in it? or
no,
what?
we didn't fire a single shot. We came in and we were like, "Hey, you're dead," and we'd start pushing them into like closets. And
Yeah, you can
Wait,
also-
wait, are you talking about like a real
No,
town?
No, yeah, no, like we would come in and there and but the thing, the
Wait, what do you
the
mean
con- the
town? Wait, hold on.
contractors-
What do you mean town? 'Cause I'm literally thinking you're walking in like a Walmart.
No,
Just like firing at
yeah,
people.
like,
Yeah,
little people.
yeah. I'm like, what do you mean town?
There was like structures.
Oh, okay,
You know,
okay.
and like
You're
so-
talking about on a field.
Yeah, and so
I
people were
literally
like,
thought you
"Oh,
meant in
man,
town. I was like,
hey, dude, what's going on?" And since we're contractors,
Well,
we can
in
go
Fort
back
Hood,
and
they
forth.
are towns. There's cities and
Oh,
towns.
yeah.
There's a mosque.
So
there's
they have a
hotel,
really
there's-
big
Oh, yeah.
place.
Oh yeah, no, it's a full battle site where military trains.
Nice.
And so there's a mosque, there's a hotel, there's an embassy,
There's a shopping
tunnel
center,
that
there's-
connects.
So
the
are you
embassy
saying that the
hotel.
entire area of Fort Hood was used as the
Not the entire.
not the
Yeah,
not the
no.
entire
Oh, that's what I'm
There's a
thinking of.
Specific
what a
training
MOAS
site.
is a site,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So like you may have Blackhawks firing on MOAS A or MOAS B. So like that MOAS is assigned to a platoon or a regiment or a flight. I don't know what the proper military term. But
It's so
you-
crazy how
you could have
fucking
Blackhawks
dedicated
like,
these guys are, dude.
when we sleep
Nuts.
at the event, the Blackhawks stream through the night, right? Or like the Helos, the Apaches, etc. Apaches fly by all the time because they're going to their MOAS,
Yep.
right? So if something got miscommunicated, we could, we wouldn't, because the military's never made a mistake. But
Would you guys get littered with military BBs and shit by an Apache?
Should I tell you a story?
No, I'm just joking. We all know the military can't make a mistake, but it's but like yeah, like you like if they went to the wrong MOAS, you would get fired upon. But they're like there's like probably 10 or 11 MOASs on in Fort Hood.
Wow,
And
that's
so
crazy.
we'd be assigned to one, and that one is so big that it has a city, it has a mosque, it has different segments. It has wooded areas, it has clear areas, it has
Airsoft is so
different
nuts.
towns. So like you
I
could
would not
go
explain
from
how crazy it is, dude.
so
Yeah,
you could go from one.
of
my
world.
sister and my brother-in-law were stationed at Fort Hood.
Nice.
When I was,
That
working,
place is so
when I was
fun.
working for
So
Spectrum,
fun.
I mean, I still have my year pass to still get into Fort Hood if I wanted to.
That's so crazy, dude.
It's-
We got to have a
it's-
cool discussion about
there's a secret way
airsoft
to
one
get
day.
in, you don't have to-
That way, maybe we
I
can
know.
encourage people about airsoft one day. But guys, we're gonna call it a show. We're about reaching the I'm guessing about 2 hour mark. I'm gonna
We're way past that.
Oh, well, we made it to the 2 hour mark as we always like to, I guess. Guys, I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in and listening to the show. Guys here, LP, Mike, Josh, I want to thank you guys very much. Josh, dude, I'm really excited to see Sonic Boom. I'm a really big fan of you guys. Can you give us any information on where we can find you, your plug or anything that we can catch you guys online or anything?
Well, you can find us at Sonic Boom TX, facebook.com/Sonic Boom TX. We have stuff coming up. We've been a little quiet because of COVID and stuff.
of
And
course.
I joined Immortal Guardian, which
Yeah.
really took a lot of my time. But we are working on new music. I was just working on a Star Wars medley the other day and a Mega
That's
Man
so
X medley.
Yes.
And,
Dead ass.
thank
I'm a
you.
part of
Might,
that.
might,
dude.
might we see that
cool.
by Ninja Lan? Is it
Maybe,
Dude, at least one. At
Hey,
least
give me the
one.
Mega Man X
It-
one, dude. I'll pay money
If
for
it was, it might not be. It'll be the Star Wars one.
Son of a bitch.
But yeah, we're working on some stuff. We do have an album that we've had it out for a good bit, but we're finally going to get it on streaming platforms because dealing with copyrights and
Yes,
what we
of
deal
course.
with, it's kind of a big hassle.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't doubt it. Has it been pretty rough?
Yes,
Trying to get the rights
Yeah,
to
in
get
fact,
released?
right
and stuff?
now we have a song. We have Poke
This song's
Rumble.
called Nintendo, don't sue me.
Poke Rumble does the Pokemon intro, and then we do a Smash from Smash Brothers Melee. We do the Pokemon Stadium stage, but that's actually its own version of Pokemon Stadium, and we can't find the artist. Like, we've submitted it in, and they're telling us we can't find the credit to give.
We don't know where we got this from.
Because that song
Fucking
wasn't
Nintendo.
released on an official soundtrack. It was only put out on that
one game.
They didn't make a soundtrack for Melee,
Vaporware,
and
baby. Vaporware.
so we're having that trouble right now. But yeah, we're gonna have that coming out soon and some new music. So stay tuned.
And of course, we can find you at Widowmaker Studios.
Widowmakerstudios.com, or you can find me Joshua Lopez Official, Facebook.com/Joshua Lopez Official. You can keep up with all my projects and my upcoming tour with Immortal Guardian. Find out the dates that we're going to be playing at,
Super
and
excited.
hopefully we're somewhere near you guys.
Super excited. Mike, LP, where can we find you guys?
I'm going home after this.
Mike is a
Here's my address.
I'm at Kinetic Entertainment Media on Facebook, etc. And ninjaland.com. It's probably two easiest ways.
Guys, if you have any questions regarding arcades, games, gaming history in the RGV, Michael is a guy you have to hit up.
Oh, and he'll argue
Yeah,
with you.
and he
So
will tell
good.
you what's up. He'll help you at least getting your any questions that you need when it comes to your arcades and anything. He'll get you going in the right direction. Same thing with our boy Ham, but Ham isn't here right now. You can find him at Games at Ham.
Yeah, Games at Hams.
Yeah. And LP, man, give us some info about you, bud.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for coming, man. Where can we find you online? If anybody wants to just hit you up and say thanks for being here. Yeah.
Don't. I'm busy.
Are you a social media man?
Not really.
Not really. No, well, either way, man, I want to
Probably
say
at Ninja Lan.
yeah, but at Ninja Lan. I want to say thank you very much for coming on the show. We know you're not from the area. You're from Houston. Thank you for coming down. We hope you had a safe trip, and we hope you have a safe trip going back up to your family and stuff like that.
Thanks, man.
Hey, guys, thank you guys very much for tuning in. To all our extraordinary listeners out there, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you all. Everybody in the comments, leaving comments and asking questions and stuff like that. Robert, Christella, thank you guys very much. Pat, thank you for tuning in from YouTube. Guys, we will see you again next Friday, 9 p.m. here on the Average Boys Podcast. I believe next week we're going to be getting back to our regular studio schedule stuff, right? We fit everybody up in the with the return of the Ninja Lan. We're going to make sure that we still promote the event, of course. Guys, it's going to be a great event. July 31st. It's going to be at the Echo Motel in Edinburg.
36 hours of straight gaming.
36 hours of straight retro style gaming. So it's like not even this whole like it has to be
No
World
next
War
gen.
Zone, no next gen stuff. It's going to be all the old school stuff that we guarantee. If you never had the chance to experience, it's going to be an experience of a lifetime. But if it's something you did experience, it's going to be very reminiscent. It's going to be something you know you've missed. Guys, you do not want to miss this event. It's going to be fantastic. Tickets are available at the website, returnoftheninjaland.com.
Just ninjaland.com.
Of the ninjaland.com.
Just ninjaland.com.
Ninjaland.
Ninjaland.com.
.com. I'm sorry, I just want to add the and return and everything to it. Ninjaland.com, not org to replace what I did last
Org.
week. I kept saying .org last week, but Ninjaland.com. The tickets are about
15 for a single day and 25 for
25
2
for
days.
single day.
We'll just say that,
yeah.
And 40 for a rental.
Yeah, and you do have the opportunity to get a discounted hotel room, but you got to act fast, guys, because we will be getting out of towners and people will be renting hotel rooms. The Echo Motel is a nice hotel for what it's worth. It is nice. Guys,
You can get a room for $50 if you call in and use the code word Ninja Lan.
Ninja Lan. Guys, it's going to be a great event. We're going to have, of course, arcades, consoles, what is it?
gaming.
PC gaming. What is it? Guitar
Rock
Hero.
Band Karaoke.
Yeah, I was trying to
Rock Band
remember the
Karaoke.
name. Rock
Saturday
Band
morning
Karaoke
cartoons, Fox
and
Tournament.
Saturday morning cartoons. And then not only that, there will be a lobby area also that will allow, of course, socializing and meeting up with people, hopefully cosplay. It's going to be a great event. Once in a lifetime opportunity, guys. Don't forget it. Return of the Ninja Lan. Remember the website, ninjaland.com. Guys, make sure you get your tickets. And we'll see you guys again next Friday, 9 p.m. here on the Average Boys Podcast.